Gather round, we got no gods to please. Saturday night, no sermons, just ease. Discussions flow like midnight breeze. No prophets here, just minds to tease. We talk big bangs and evolution. Question faith with our solution. Stars align in our confusion. Breaking free from old illusion. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Fun and laugh at myth believers. Here we're all truth seekers. Open hearts and swift deceivers. Make your stand, no hidden levers. Raise your glass to reason, thrill, no ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn, feel golden chill. Saturday night, we've got the skill. Echoes of a godless choir, like the world we spark the fire. Free our mindset to inspire. No holy walls to take us higher. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Fun and laugh at myth believers. Here we're all truth seekers.
Greetings. Welcome to the Captive Desk, another episode of hosting Saturday Night at the Atheists. And we have a panel of atheists joining us. We've got Brainless joining us, Scott Duke,
Hello.
and Mike, also from
Hello.
both from Answers in Atheism, and Simos Funk. Always a pleasure, Simos. And we're having a bit of change in plans this evening. Having a bit of audio problem with the video. Don't understand what the problem is. It plays for me. It won't play on StreamYard. We think there's some kind of a funny recording they used or something. Not sure. But anyways, we have plenty of stuff left over from previous episodes. So in keeping with the what was supposed to be naturalism and Darwinism from this channel here. Again, apologies, don't know what's going on. We were all trying to play with it. For some reason, the volume just like got turned off on the video. It's weird.
Yeah, it's gone. And it happened within the last couple hours, which is weird because I was listening to it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, whenever I render a video, I always play it back, just to make sure it works, because sometimes I screwed something up, right? So I always play and I skip through, and it works fine in Media Player, right? Comes right up, plays, no problem. Won't play through StreamYard. So.
It is actually playing for me if you want to give it a go with volume. Yeah, I think it might be the first time you click on it or something. I don't know. Do you want to give it a try?
Trump found out they were a DEI organization and he shut them down. Could be.
We can
Deep State Annex has a suggestion.
We can give it a try, yeah. Pop it up there.
Okay.
No, it's not that one.
There you go. Okay. Because I went to one channel. That's right.
Yeah,
I went to one channel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't give me the link. I'm with you. Sorry about that.
Now we got
Yeah, as I switched my headphones over to one channel, and I did that just before I lost the sound.
It's very odd. is there's something odd with this video. So
Yeah.
you know what? Oh well, right? I said in keeping with it though, we've done a couple videos where they were talking about Darwin, and so we're gonna revisit one of the ones that we did before, and this guy. We'll have to remember stuff. I wasn't prepared. Sorry.
Yeah,
I had this guy's name and all his stuff ready in front of me.
Now you sound like the Hawaiian shirt guy. I wasn't prepared for that.
I'm not prepared for that.
Oh, yes.
I'm not prepared for that.
So the guy, Dave, the guy that we were going to hire, at some point he says in it, and how could one mutation create a new species or something like that, or a new function? Yeah. One mutation, right? How could that happen? It couldn't, is the answer. But I mean, he is that dumb. The guy that we're going to go over.
Yeah, we had to figure it out.
I was going to say the other side of it, which is when you get two guys in plaid shirts sitting at a desk talking about evolution from the Christian angle, you can definitely expect something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was entertaining, and I think we might have even gotten through this video or most of this video, the first video anyway. So
the first, yeah.
But I've got 2 or 3 more that we can look at from the same person. So that's what we're going to do tonight, and because it was fun the last time, so it'll be fun this time. So
it'd be able to have a name though. Have we got any names at all for these people?
Oh wait, I still have to shut up.
Yeah.
Creationist 1 and Creationist 2.
Yeah, well, I think it's just him. I think he's going solo in the other ones.
Wow. All right, yeah, this is going to be deep.
Yeah, he might say it, or it'll come to me or something. But yeah, and we got a bunch of folks joining us out here. Ollie, hello, and Nerdy, hello, and we've got Commander out there and Farms out there. A bunch of folks joining. Hello, everybody. Once again, changing plans. We had some audio problem with the video. It's very odd. It's very strange. Never had this problem before. But so oh well. We're just gonna go on with some previous and pop it up on stage here, and if you back it up just a little bit.
Teaching
here.
Students, and I got to mentor.
If you remember when we reviewed this video, yeah. Oh, him. Yeah, they I'm trying to remember it. I think the guy on the left there, not the one with the laptop by him, whatever your left is, the guy without the laptop in front of him. I think he was some kind of a scientist or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, isn't that Dembski? Is it?
No.
No?
It's
one. Okay, it's one of them. But
yeah, I call these. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Throw the link out in like general chat so I can put it so I can pull it up and read about it and stuff.
The original one?
Yeah, you got the original link to this? Or don't? Yeah, you may not. When do we go
from my channel? I do.
He's somebody. He's some kind. He had some kind of a degree in science or economics or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I mean the link to the video we're reviewing. You have that?
Should have it in my thing here. One moment.
And in your thing.
In my thing. In my long list of things here. Let's see. A couple favorites there. 1 second. It's a long list.
I'm sorry for my need of links.
No, it's my bad. Well, whatever it is, I don't know. It's just odd. Never had this problem before.
It's Saturday night at the Atheist.
I've adjusted videos before and never had any
because
problems.
Our worldview is inherently flawed. So how in the hell are we expected to put on a YouTube channel? I mean,
I know
about it.
Something got messed up.
It's our worldview,
Yes.
man.
That's the problem. We're not grounding the audio in God.
Right. Yeah, we're not grounding the audio. We're floating around free.
Where is
Floating around a cloud of mushrooms and cannabis smoke. Save these. I wonder if you can. I have seen people
Red pill.
smoking cannabis where it looks like you could float on the clouds. You know, I mean, it's so thick. It's so thick in the room that it looks like if you jumped up, you would actually float on the clouds of cannabis smoke.
I've tried. I mean, I haven't done it, but I have
Oh,
tried.
have you? Oh yeah. Yeah, I had it.
I certainly
that
smoked
Cheech and-
enough weed to get the clouds. I didn't even know. But anyway.
That Cheech and Chong
Anyway.
scene where the
Yeah.
cop stops them and they open the car door and the smoke billows out of it.
They're in the car, yeah.
Yeah.
That is funny. Anyway, these two. I call them Brains and Brawn. We don't need names. Brains there on
and
the
brawn.
left.
Okay. Oh yeah, brains on the left, brawn on
Brains
the
on
right.
the left and Brawn on the right, obviously. And yeah, a scientist he is indeed.
And they decided to color coordinate their Walmart shirts. Yeah,
Indeed.
I've got one of those on myself right now. So
Why wouldn't you?
why
You
wouldn't
get to a certain age, and that's it. You know,
That's all you wear is flannel.
flannel. I thought they were called plaid, but yeah, no, flannel shirts. That's what it is.
I try to wear tropical shirts.
You are.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, if you can pull it off, Scott. If you can pull it off, it's okay.
Well, the only people I ever see are family and cows, so that's nothing to pull
There it
off.
is.
I'm
There it
pretty
is.
sure that's illegal around both of those.
There it is
And-
in private chat, Mike.
Okay. And
Got
bulls and steers, Scott. Don't forget the bulls and the steers. And the
Yeah, they-
heifers.
Right at the beginning, he says he introduces themselves, I believe.
Okay.
He was something. Anyways, we took a look at this video. It was a couple of months ago, first week of December, we took a look at this video. But this was
The guy's
Just
name
looking
is
at
Dr.
this video.
Phil Bishop.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Dr.
so I
Phil.
want before we start, we
Okay.
start this is a very reasonable channel, so we want nobody to bash the bishop, okay? But you people out there, just don't even think about it when we get
Here we
halfway
go
through.
there.
No, nobody in the side chat is to bash the bishop, okay?
And Rainbow's here, Demon Orb is here, Top
Who's
Dog's
Dorby?
here. All the best folks are here. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I gotta remind people, nobody is to bash Dr. Dick Bishop.
All right, so we got, like I said, through this video, but we got more. So we're gonna pick up where we left off and take a look at. I think he's just gonna go solo here. Top Dog, that's when you were here with us? Okay. But luckily, I always have more.
Dave, this guy's the kinesiologist. He's the exercise. He's the FIAD guy. He's a FIAD teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
The physical motion thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Although I have no idea what a kinesiologist is.
Kinesiologist studies how your muscle. Well, there's two kinds. Okay, there's this whole scam called kinesiology. It's like this woo-woo chiropractor stuff. But then there's the science of kinesiology, is how your muscles and skeletons moves. Basically limbs and which muscles are moving. So.
Sure.
Anyway.
That includes your knees, does it?
Well, apparently,
Oh, yeah.
he went to the Naval Academy and studied engineering and science. So he's one of these engineers who thinks he's an expert in everything.
Yeah, you mean science? Like he had a chapter on clouds, and then he had a chapter on rocks, and yeah, okay.
He says he studied it at the academy. I don't know if that means he got an engineering degree, at the academy, or if he just studied some engineering, studied some science.
I studied for an hour today, but I didn't learn anything.
The big gap here.
Generally is evolution. I've gotten.
There we go. There's such a big gap. It'll get there. Here we go.
Hi.
Okay. Now, sorry for the technical. I'm usually have everything ready, folks. We just had technical issues tonight, so we're going back and looking at this video, and so we're just kind of winging it here. My apologies. It happens, but the show must go on. So we're gonna listen to the motion guy. Or no, the other guy was the motion guy. Or is this? Yeah, what's this guy do? He's just a pastor or something then?
He's a retired, well, I don't know if he's a pastor now, but he's I think either a current or retired professor of kinesiology and physical education at the University of Alabama.
Okay.
But this guy is the bishop, is he? Philip Bishop?
No, he's not a bishop. He's a kinesiologist. He's a FIA teacher.
Yeah, his name is Phil Bishop.
Phil Bishop, that is. Okay.
Yeah, Dr.
I thought
Phil
he was
Bishop.
a bishop, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Dr. Phil. All right,
Well,
Dr.
kind of a
Phil,
bishop,
here we
yeah.
go.
He's bishop in name, if not in kind.
And let's see what Dr. Phil has to say this time.
Welcome to Church for Skeptics.
So
Dan
he says-
Arsenault here.
Welcome, everybody. Okay, very nice. And I love the Church for Skeptics idea. It is a good idea. I'll give him that.
And we're talking about Darwinian evolution. I've gotten several videos up just talking about this, discussing what I call the there is no God at all theory. And
Straight out of the bag. And our survey says bullshit. Our survey says non sequitur.
And I'll point out that every time that, far as we know, Darwin believed in God. So,
Yeah.
He did, certainly for most of his life. Apparently, one of his young daughters died, his like fifth or sixth child. He had a lot of kids. And she died very young. And that's when he started to question his beliefs. But still didn't lose his
Yeah, but it never said
some
he.
kind of deity.
well, he was,
Right,
he was
never-
mad
never
at-
said he did
mad
became-
at God. Yeah.
It didn't say that he became an atheist.
No.
He
As
just
far as I'm
had-
aware, he never became an atheist.
No.
Yeah.
You can't be an atheist and be mad at God. You
No.
can be a misotheist and be mad at God, but you can't be an
There you go,
atheist
Ed.
and be mad at God. I learned that. I'm passing it along.
And that's why I think it's important. I think that the Genesis account of creation is a much better explanation. Of course, if it's true, it's the much better explanation. But even that, it's just a much better explanation of what we see. What do
Okay.
you think of?
Yeah, what I think of when I hear someone say that is, what the hell do they mean by explanation then? And then the other thing I think is, evolution doesn't account for the origin of life. So it's not a better explanation for life. It's a better explanation for diversity of life. And I think he's confused somewhat. Scott?
Am I typing again?
Yeah, I think
You
you
are
are.
typing
Yes.
a lot.
Okay, sorry about that.
I thought it was your dog wagging his tail against the microphone.
Yeah.
He's just excited.
Or something wagging.
Or that, or
Hey.
you're just bashing the bishop too hard. I don't know.
Hello,
You
zombie.
typing in
Thanks for
chat.
stopping by. Get all the best folks stopping through. B.S. Lewis, hello. Spooky's here. Hello, everybody.
B.S. Lewis. You made my Christian wife call Darwin in bed.
That's a good one.
A weird kink.
That's a good one.
God, I wish I was still dating. I tried that.
We got Rainbow lurking, and we got Geo Sam here. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Joe.
What do you think about when I say evolution? Probably what I would think about generally is
Here it
change
comes.
over time. Certainly
Right.
that's true. But
Okay. We're good so far.
True.
There's
Okay, one
changes
for one.
over time.
specifically regarding Darwinian evolution, change over time is about
Let me pause it for just a
mutation. The
second.
environment does.
I note that when I was growing up, nobody acknowledged evolution in my
Right.
missionary Baptist, fundamentalist, premillennialist church. And by the time, by 80, 83, 84, Christians were saying, okay, there's a little bit of evolution. It's microevolution. But see, creationism has evolved, which is so ironic to me. They will now acknowledge some form of quote unquote change over time, which is evolution.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And when I took 11th grade biology, or like I was there for about 2 weeks before I dropped out, but there was no mention in that book of evolution anywhere in the entire book. I don't know why, but that was the way it was in the 60s. So
Change sometimes,
that was about
gradually and sometimes suddenly. But we're really talking about
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Suddenly?
there's fast evolution and slow evolution.
yeah, but I wouldn't call it sudden. You know, that kind of implies something that it's not.
Well, I think he's maybe referring to punctuated equilibrium, which was kind of a controversy for a little while, but now it's just kind of been absorbed into the theory, and that the evolutionary rates vary, but it's still slow compared to our life cycle.
It's a question of relative scale, isn't it? Suddenly, in terms of geological times, maybe. And it certainly isn't equally, it's not uniform change over time. So I think that's just a kind of mute point. But I'd just like to point out that he doesn't know what that means, right? So when he says suddenly, right, he's repeating someone that thinks that the Earth is, 4.5 billion years old. Right. So that's what suddenly means.
It often goes back to the Cambrian explosion too, and they'll say it's just sudden, and it's like, but there was a long period of time before that.
Yeah, explosion. There you go. That's a quick word for us, and like it just shows the fundamental or it shows that somebody's presuppositions change the way they even look at evidence so dramatically, right? He thinks suddenly means tomorrow. Right, so hence the argument. I've never seen a monkey give birth to a human today. Right, I mean that is just obviously a straw man, but he can't help making that straw man because he doesn't even understand this distinction between different relative types of time, or time scales, I should say, isn't it? So when they say suddenly, we're talking about geological time, and not human lifetime, right? But
like
he
the
thinks
bacteria
6,000 years old.
The flagellum, developed suddenly, but there were somewhere between 2 to 900 trillion generations of bacteria since bacteria got started. But that doesn't cover it, because every bacteria that divided was an additional opportunity for a mutation or some difference, right? And that number is something like 1 times 10 to the 42nd power, 10 to the 42nd, 42
Wow.
zeros, which is a tredecillion. And there are only a septillion stars in the universe, or sextillion. I think it's 6 sextillion. Then you got to go septillion, octillion, nonillion, decillion, undecillion, duodecillion, and tredecillion. So, I mean, that's how many opportunities there were to get the flagello right. So, anyway, they like to leave that out.
There's some numbers for you.
Genetic mutations in reproduction. They say between 200 and 300 mutations are passed on from every human that reproduces. So, I mean, that's puzzling a little bit and a little bit scary, maybe.
Numbers 30 to 100.
30 to 100. Okay. And
I think it averages about 30.
Yeah. That's part of evolution, is the copying errors. So.
Yep.
So mutations would change over time. The second thing that we would think about normally would be, we call it natural selection. So what it means is that that nature itself it both nurtures and kills living forms. Different environments, I'm reading my notes a lot just to try to get this right. Different environments are differently helpful and differently dangerous to different kinds of life forms. We're not going to...
Can you just stop there a second? I just want people to recognize the language that's being used here. So he's used nurture. Nature either nurtures or kills. And these are things which are helpful, both of which are presupposing some kind of purpose. Right. So the language he's using already is what I would call poisoning the well. You know, it's all begging the question if he actually draws a conclusion from it or straight from it. So, yeah, helpful, nurturing, or you could just say selecting, which is in the title, natural selection. So all he's really doing is just saying natural selection is either the selection is either natural, or it's natural. I mean, it's selection between dead and alive. There you go. I mean, and this is the kind of start of misunderstanding. And as soon as you hear someone saying these kind of key words, then we're headed down some kind of dark path. So when people are interrupting in the middle of arguments, sometimes that's quite often they're just hearing these types of words and going, "Hang on, you can't use those words," because that's begging the question. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I had nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
I just was agreeing. I was agreeing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I was agreeing with Speed agreeing with you.
Ah, fantastic.
That was a rare moment when I agree with you, Simons.
Yeah, it is. I'm quite. I think we should just hang around here for a little bit, so I can get my fix of agreement.
Somebody take a screenshot and frame it.
I agree with you, Steele. Yeah. Okay, we're all in agreement. Let's go.
I want to
begging the question is basically those words are, I guess.
real quick here. I want to share something.
Trailer Park X-Men. Oh my goodness. Arc Encounter protest.
I want to remind everybody, Joe over the Kentucky Atheist, in conjunction with others, the Tri-State Freethinkers.
Oh, we got Mandisa.
And he's got a bunch of people lined up that are on the list to come. It's going to be July 6th. It's a Sunday.
I know all the names, but who's Mark Alsip?
God, I've heard of him. But
yeah, he does debates, right? Yeah.
I guess I'll have to search for him.
Look him up. So and if you want to keep up on everything that's going on over there, make sure you follow over at Joe's channel at the Kentucky Atheist. Links in the description. And also, he's affiliated with a smoke shop now. So if you're looking for, some smoke products, you can go there with a discount code. All that's in the description below. Lots of links below, and we're going to be adding another one too as soon as I get a second for the Grayson video.
Do you think there would have been? Sorry, could you stick that back up for us a second? Do you think there would have been a? Do you think there would have been a protest at the time of the original Ark? People going, "Hey, you can't nick all that gopher wood. Like, we want some of that."
Yeah,
gopher wood.
exactly.
That's not for you.
Yeah.
This is
What about their
this is
carbon footprint?
They
go.
do this on the anniversary of when it opened, so that's why it's in July.
Yeah.
So
I think Aaron Ra's been to he's organized a number of protests out there already, more than one. I'm not surprised to see him there, but anyway, pretty exciting.
and Seth,
Also, think about the nail shortage just before that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because Noah must have been planning this. He must have had it in his head. I know. So he must have been buying up nails for years before.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you see Godless Engineers, one of their guests.
Yep.
Did you see where he basically treated Dennis McDonald with the utmost of disrespect when they were talking about mythicism versus, was Jesus a historical person? And
No.
it was just disgusting.
Really?
As Dennis McDonald would speak, he would lean back in his chair and stare up at the ceiling, roll his eyes, and it was just, and he would criticize him for the stupidest reasons. So it's just, I wish they could put an X through that, and I'm just not that impressed with Godless Engineer. All the rest of these people are worth coming out for, but I don't know why he's received so positively across channels.
He's big channel, and like everybody's channel. It's all good.
Yes.
But
You're right. So what does Dennis McDonald, what position does he hold?
Well, he has his own unique angle on things. He's the one who he knows classic mythology, Greek mythology, the Greek classics very well. Knows, very familiar with the Roman and Greek milieux during that time, and so he's the one who finds memes, of Greek myths or Roman myths, maybe even Egyptian, throughout the Gospels, and says this is kind of a, I forget the exact word used, but it's kind of an archetype that these literary conventions follow. And it begins with the fact that anybody and everybody who can write has studied Homer and various other writers. And just like today, you have to have a certain form in a movie. Action movies usually follow a certain pattern. It varies to different degrees from scene to scene, as each plot point is done. But they follow a basic pattern, or you're very dissatisfied with the movie. Romantic comedies follow a format, follow a meme essentially. And he just finds out. He specializes in assessing what kind of meme is being expressed in a particular gospel paradigm or pericope or story, and he's considered fringe, or at least out there in the academic community. But he's in the academic community and deserves a lot of respect for what he's doing. And more people are actually you know, the scholars like Robin Faith Walsh, you know, respects his work. Others do as well, and he deserves respect for what he's doing. And he just doesn't get that because I don't know if he thinks. I don't think he thinks Jesus didn't exist, but he does think that the gospel writers mythified him. You know, in the sense of force-fitting the previous narratives into those Greek memes based on the stories of other gods and heroes and demigods.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. I don't know why he'd go after him so hard. It's kind of odd. He's not a mythicist. I think he says that he's 100% sure that Jesus existed. Something like that.
And right. And I also wanted to mention, everybody go check out, there's a lot of links in the description tonight. So check them all out. We've got links for everybody's channels, and subscribe to mine as well while you're down there. Subscribe to Answers in Atheism, Slim Cyborg, Simos Funk. Everybody's below in the description. Joe, the Kentucky Atheist, his stuff is all in the description. And Bree over at Hivesci has got some merch out. So her link is also in the description. You can get yourself a t-shirt with a Bigfoot. And I was supposed, mine's in the mail. And I don't know if we've got some snow here, if it's slowed up or something. I was hoping to have my new shirt. But yeah, so you can go check that out. I put a link to her merch store down in the description. And what else? Oh, and Scott, the link for Grayson and Jason Lyle, that's in the description as well. All right. So you got lots in the description to go check out. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Go to the North Pole with no protection, we're going to die. That kind of thing. Unless we grew a lot of fur.
No.
So to review what we've come for this far is, here's my big point so far.
A lot of fur.
Neither of those things, natural selection nor
Unless we grew a lot of fur.
Well,
I love it. I love it. Genius.
Well, God put the information in there for us to be furry. So if we go to the North Pole, we should start growing a lot of fur. So.
Yeah, we could evolve suddenly, could we not?
I did a video about Brian Osborne over at Answers in Genesis that said something about that if we moved up to the cold, we would grow hair or something, and I put a werewolf clip or something in there.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Pretty funny.
Well, if we didn't have clothes, like, and if you move farther north every generation, like, eventually it might happen, but not sure.
You can't just like airdrop a bunch of people into the North Pole, and then a few weeks later they've got fur all over them. That's not quite how it works, and I'm surprised.
Also,
be a neat trick, though, wouldn't it?
Well, that's the way Jim Bob described evolution. A bunch of fish ran out of oxygen, so they grew lungs and limbs. And,
he's such an idiot.
I love it. Once they get the fun of it, the straw mans go all over the place.
Yeah,
but like I said, he just used two words, right, for that suddenly. Helpful, right? Remember, helpful and nutritional. Right, and that's enough for him to start straw manning, and it's exactly the same thing. That's how they get to these ridiculous positions, and we all laugh because obviously our presuppositions are completely different.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's why they can hold it with a straight face. And when people say, "Oh, they must be trolling," you'd be surprised how far people could become confused. Anyway, there you go.
Mutations, neither of those things explain Darwinian evolution. because Darwinian evolution is something else. It is, number one, common descent, which means that all life forms evolved, a change over time, through mutations, genetic changes, starting with one simple living life form.
No.
Well, it's not.
And that's not considered true either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what evolution is as such, or at least Darwinian evolution is as such. But it is common descent is a conclusion, is it not, from the genetic data?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, okay. Once again, that's the idea that the Big Bang is the origin of the universe, or whatever you want to say. These kind of straw men that just get labelled on by people who misunderstand what's going on, and then picked up by other people. And that's why when I certainly see him, and he's saying he's Dr. Phil Bishop. I can't not say that name without asking people not to bash this particular bishop. Certainly his wife, otherwise something's going to evolve. But
over here it's Dr. Phil. That's
Dr. Phil. Beg your pardon. Yeah, Dr. Phil. Our survey says another straw man. Okay, that's enough said then.
Protoplasm, Darwin thought, or some living cell, an organism that just randomly came into existence, and then as it changed over time, mutated, things got, here's the second part, more simple to more and more and more complex as those changes were preserved via natural selection.
Okay, so straight away, Mike, you answer this one. It just randomly came into existence.
Yeah, no, no. Just randomly. Oh my God.
Despite the fact he's just banging on about natural selection, he thinks it still randomly just came into existence.
Yeah.
Also, evolution
the Bible says that.
Actually, evolution doesn't really require it becoming more complex. Life becoming more complex. It explains it, but it doesn't require it, because you see at times, I believe, evolution taking kind of a step back from complexity, and things losing function, such as you have those blind geckos or blind salamanders in caves that are born without eyes because
what about our tail? We still have a tailbone, but we don't have a tail anymore.
Yeah.
It's not getting more complex. That's getting less complex.
I see Beck joining us. Hello, Beck.
What the Beck?
Good to see you.
What the Beck?
The Beck. That's right. 2 turntables and a microphone.
And there's it's a little misleading to say that, even from my position, because when we start talking about from simple to complex, which you're going to use a lot today, we're really talking about the simplest life form has 500,000, and they call them nucleotides, which just.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he's making a good point here, isn't he, Mike? Nucleotides come in, nucleotides go out. You can't explain that.
You can't really. But he's talking about the simplest life form today, right?
Today, right?
Yeah, which is a very important nuance.
Right.
The
Yep.
genetic letter.
Hopefully, I'll have an opportunity to talk a little bit about this move into complexity a little bit later, but I want to listen to him for a while.
Okay.
A DCF, or is there a G in there somewhere?
What? Oh God!
500,000, the simplest.
ACDF isn't that the name of a rock band?
No.
What am I thinking of?
Almost.
ACDC.
No.
No.
It was. I think it was KM. Let's see. It was Knock Me Down and F Me. I think that was the.
Okay.
If you've not listened to them, you got to listen to them. They're really good.
Yeah, I think you're a bit trendier than me, Mike. I'm afraid. I've never heard of them.
Human beings have 3 billion nucleotides, genetic letters. Now, if you want to try to see the difference between 500,000 or even 500 million and 3 billion, do the math, and it's astronomical.
More is better. Okay, we're more complex is this point?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put it
in
in
the grand scheme of things, yes. It's, survival of the fittest is always tricky, right? Because we could be gone tomorrow and, the simple slime that's living in my pond or whatever can go on about its business, right? So, but yeah, we have, if you want to look at it as, able to control our environment and everything, then we're on the top. But that's just a lot of evolution. He's not getting away from why it's not evolution. He's just saying, well, look, this was simple and now it's complex, right? And he's accepting what he calls microevolution already. So, okay. Let's see how he squirms out of it.
He uses the word astronomical, to mean extremely large.
Yeah.
I wonder if he thinks that there is a dome.
Okay, I threw that the wiki article for that band out there.
I noticed,
but it's not exactly that acronym, but that's what we used to call them because it's a German acronym or something. So anyway, it's a good band.
Well, what is there? Don't we have like 1 trillion cells in our body or something like that? There's a lot of cells.
Trillion, about 27
trillion. Okay,
that's the number I'm going with.
That's astronomical. That's just
big.
Yeah,
that's
bigger
astronomical.
Bigger than billions, then. Yeah.
Yeah,
billions and billions.
Okay. He said billion, and it's actually 27 trillion. Okay, it's like undervaluing of the number there.
Yeah, it's a big number. Okay. Yep.
There are a lot of good illustrations that you can find for that. But my point is, here's my case: mutations and natural selections do the opposite. And this is if you get this, you get at least my case. Genetic mutations and natural selection produce the opposite of Darwinian evolution. We could call it devolution. And it's like what really happens is like the most basic scientific principle, which is, I'm going to call it genetic entropy for the...
Oh
no.
Somebody has misinterpreted pseudoscience.
There it is.
Yep.
Genetic entropy is just something creationists made up.
A better word for mutation is change. Basically the DNA sequence changes from one generation to the next. Doesn't lose information, it just changes into different information. Slowly, very slowly.
Yeah,
anyway.
It also means that entropy is never the word that you should be using as just randomizing. Entropy is not randomizing in any shape, sense, or form. So that's a complete misuse of the scientific term entropy. Maybe the colloquial term, I guess we mean disorder by colloquially when we use it. And I guess you could say that radiation causes disorder, but certainly not natural selection. So wrong on both accounts of the use of the word.
Yeah, natural selection kind of restores a kind of order and selects what changes are going to actually work, and leaves out 90% of them that aren't going to work. Right?
Yeah, so he's 50% right that natural selection does kill people before they can reproduce. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and for good reason. And God kills 30 to 50% of all pregnancies before the woman even knows she's pregnant, because there are mutations and they don't make it, they don't develop. So
And also, God kills 99.999% of the people on the planet
yep.
in order to
If you
get
believe the
get 8
stories.
people to mutate into a world of wickedness.
Right,
Explain that with
exactly.
your theology,
Explain
mofos.
that one.
All right, go ahead.
But
This
that's a plot
program
twist.
here, really what is the second law of thermodynamics, that everything
Uh-oh.
tends to go simple, not complex.
No, that's not true.
Want to explain energy in, Mike?
No. What's that?
You want
Well,
to
actually-
explain the energy into the biology system that we have, and that's why.
Oh yeah, when you have basically when you have a system that's that is getting an excess of energy from the outside, basically, it will build in complexity rather than fly apart. And what he's talking about with entropy applies to an ideal gas that physics talks about, right? Like if you open a container with gas in it, it will diffuse into the atmosphere. It will increase in entropy. But you see, they're talking about very ideal physical systems. Okay, that isn't what's happening on Earth. We have that sunlight coming in, pounding on us, building up, just building things up. Right? I mean, if what he said about entropy is true, then trees could not photosynthesize. You could not build an oak tree out of sunlight, right? It would just puff away. It would disappear. So obviously, life is not like that. Life is a different kind of system. And I don't know why they keep bringing it up.
Sounds difficult.
They
that's
don't
why.
understand.
Yeah, and they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Sounds difficult.
That's why we have
Yeah,
Mike
and
here.
in
Brain.
some sense, it's about microstates as well.
That's why we
And
have Mike
obviously,
here.
life
Bringing
is
this.
exactly the opposite process. It takes microstates and makes them macrostates.
They don't want to understand it. They want their little line from physics to be true. Yeah. Anyway.
Gotta listen to Mike. He knows what he's talking about. Pay attention.
Yeah, I
Brain
figured
is-
out like here, like I learn a lot. So, and as I said before, like you've found some very interesting and nice, smart people to hang out with. So that's yeah.
We got a great crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the more I learn, the less I know. It's really bad. I'm at that stage in my life where I'm just getting dumber.
Yeah, it's slightly. Yeah, I'm at the same stage. Very close to this. I am at the same stage. But Mike, you just slightly misphrased it. The more you learn, the more you forget. Right?
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, every day. Yeah,
He forgot about that.
yeah, I forgot.
You're not getting dumber. You're just forgetting more. That's all.
I'm forgetting more, right? Well, you run out of storage
the
after
biblical-
a while, right?
Yeah, long time ago.
Well, that's what they said
when you reach the level of wisdom that I have acquired at 74 years old, you run out of storage.
Yeah.
I got
there was
to
a
defrag my
Mythbusters.
disk.
Yeah, Mythbusters did a thing that what if you could live to 1,000 or something like that.
Oh Christ!
And part of it was having to have like a crown or something, or with an external head drive, or putting it onto a cloud or something, because of your brain would fill up eventually.
There's a really interesting sci-fi series called Red Mars, Green Mars, or Blue Mars and Green Mars. But every 300 years they get their DNA reset so that they're young again. But this guy was like, I don't know, 300-400 years old, and he couldn't remember anything about who the first woman he married was, including her name. Because of it all, because he only had so much memory. You could only keep the last roughly 100 years going. So, yeah,
to be fair,
that would be a weird. Yeah.
Yeah, to be
Then
fair,
every time you be someone else.
I only remember this guy's name because of the bishop joke. So.
Well, this isn't Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's the other guy, isn't he? Or
Phil.
is this Dr. Phil? Yeah.
Yeah,
this is Phil.
Dr. Phil. Yeah.
I thought this was the other one. Okay.
No.
Our survey says we don't know what entropy is.
Brainless?
What?
Were you saying something?
Might have been, but I kind of forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, you ran out of storage.
Yeah. Yeah, no, oh no, yeah, like with the running out of storage, like in that case, like every time you get reset, you'll become somebody completely different
Right.
because you just
Yeah.
lost what defined you.
Yeah.
Because you are who you are because of all your interactions and the stuff you learned, and yeah.
Yeah, you're a different
see,
person every moment.
This opens up a whole can of worms when you go to vampire movies and Highlander movies and everything, because they lived, 1,000 years or whatever until somebody, had a big fight at the end of the movie. It's like, well, how come? Yeah, where was all the extra storage at? Right? There's a big problem for the sci-fi folks right there.
Yeah, and the way the brain works, you not only have your global overall cortical storage, but you also have an index system that indexes into things. So when you're trying to think of something like who's that actor's name or that band name, and you can't find it right away, it's because your index system is being overused. By the time you're 30 or 40, your brain is already full. And now you're just going to start reusing shit. And you're depending on an interaction of that index system with cues from the outside. And it's cues from the outside that usually allow us to find something. But anyway, it's really kind of cool. But if you look into how the brain works, you can understand totally why you have that tip of the tongue moment where it's like, God, I remember that. I can't remember his name, but it's right on the tip of my tongue. But that tip of the tongue thing is something they've studied in neuroscience. It's really cool how it works. It's anyway. Let's listen to this idiot.
Answer for that is the fall of man, or we could call it original sin. If you want to read this, read Romans chapter 8, verse 18 and following, where it talks about, and here's the Bible word for the second law of thermodynamics. It's called corruption and decaying, the decay of corruption.
That's 2 words, mate.
Yeah,
that's
that
two
is.
words.
Yeah.
It's not 1 word. There's 2 words. And corruption. That's an interesting word there. Another begging the question fallacy going on, I feel.
It was just correction. It was just Adam. It wasn't Mythbusters. Thanks, Top Dog. And yeah, there's a link for it.
Nice.
What if you live forever? Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, check that out. It was interesting. You'd have to replace, parts, and if you were injured, you'd have to
that video is
grow
not
parts
available.
and all that.
For me, it says the video is not available.
Not available. Well, look
Might be a
around for
location
it.
thing.
Yeah, look around for it. Can you live forever? Somebody has it.
When I click on the link,
everything
it's prompting me to buy it.
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently, they put it behind a paywall.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know
Oh,
YouTube
Curiosity
had a paywall.
Stream?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
Curiosities?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. That explains
I
shit.
wanna live forever.
Curiosity
Well, I
Stream
saw
is only like $2-3 a month. I think everybody should sign up for it. It's got a lot of videos, a lot of good shit.
I saw it somewhere, so unless I saw it on, TV on like their channel or something. Okay. Anyway, look around for it. It was interesting.
And of course, Paul writes this in Romans 8, I think by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, that the whole world, the universe, is decaying. It's going from complex to simple, not simple to complex. I think
Paul never said anything about complex to simple or whatever.
Yeah, where did Paul say this?
He didn't deal with complexity. He dealt with sin, and then the appearance of the world being in turmoil and things like that, but never simple to complex, complex to simple.
Who was it that brought up the definition of insanity? That was yesterday on my stream, I think. Right?
Einstein.
No, basically, okay. God created, after Adam and Eve, God did this whole thing, and then it didn't work out, so He killed everybody, and then He didn't make any changes at all. He just started again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with 6 people. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and getting, expecting a different result. Like, what did he think was going to happen?
Oh, no, he didn't think. He already knew.
Oh,
He's
knew, right? He's omnipotent, yeah.
Yeah, that's another question. Does God think? Right? I mean, if you already know
If he's not
everything
in
and
time, he
everything's
can't.
planned out,
Right.
yeah, and no time, that's always a problem too. So God doesn't think; it just is.
Yeah. Why do people say, "Okay, give me a minute to think about it"? If you think, you need a minute to think about it. But God can't think. There's no way. So, you gotta have time for that.
No, because then that would mean he doesn't know what he would think of. Then
He'd already know the answer.
He
He wouldn't have to think of anything. He'd know the answer already. He moves outside of time.
Yeah, Top Dog says it was on TV. That's probably when I saw it then.
And
Got to
Mike,
be somewhere, though.
If he knew the answer, he would have done it right the first time, presumably.
That's well.
Curiosity. Go
I
ahead.
think that's what we see in nature itself.
Nope.
And I think that's the attribution for that is the fall of man. And here's the theology behind it.
But you just
God
explained
created
what
the universe
theology was.
good. He created it complete. And then as mankind separated from God by our own choice, then, and I know there's a lot of work that could be done and
Could you stop
cases
there,
that could be made.
Altogether atheist. So what about Jesus?
He's stumbling a little bit, isn't he?
I mean, yeah, I'm not even sure he actually knows the theology behind it. Or, in fact, if he actually has any consistent theology, maybe he belongs to too many different churches. I don't know. But
Well, God created He created the world perfect, except for that one rotten apple. That one rotten apple changed everything. So obviously, it wasn't perfect.
It was fermented.
But no, just if he created the world perfect, then there would be no need for Jesus. Right?
Yeah.
And if there's no need for Jesus, then Jesus isn't eternal, in which case he can't be part of God. I mean,
but you have to have the fall, or you can't have the redemption story.
right, exactly. So, did he create it perfect or not? Well,
No.
I'm saying no if you want Jesus to be part of God.
Right. Because
And if he created it perfect, nobody would sin.
Yeah, no, it has to be set up to fall so Jesus can come and fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to be, surely.
I mean,
And so-
he's tried a couple of things. He tried hiding the apple, then he tried mass genocide, right, and the Magic Zoo boat, and
Magic Zoo boat,
and then he tried Jesus, and now what is he trying? Trump. Trump is his last.
Yeah, no, I think like with everything, the thing that makes it fall for me is like he is all knowing and all powerful and all loving. Those three things he cannot be true all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if he's all knowing and all powerful and all loving, why are the kids getting hurt?
Yeah.
Nope.
Why are the people getting hurt even? Well, they it's a test. Well, sorry, but like some like if you see on social media, like couples, like they test each other and like there's, oh, you should do this to your partner and see how they react. Bitch, if you do that to me, you're fucking out. If you don't fucking trust me, fuck off. Like that's the fucking same thing.
Yeah,
why does he need to test us? Because he already knows the answer. So why is he testing?
Right.
If I had been on his design team, right around the time of Noah's Ark, I would have said, "Hey, just recreate the Garden of Eden and don't put the fucking apple in there this time."
Yeah.
Leave the apple out. Simple. But I wasn't on his team, so.
Well, and they didn't know right from wrong before then either. So they were set up to fail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made for that. And that's not what we're doing today. So, as man separated, the universe fell too, in the sense that God separated himself by our choice. Yeah, just do it on your own. Okay, but here's the universe doing it more on its own, not completely, of course. That would be.
You know, I wish when I was a kid I had the critical thinking facilities to go, that just is so ridiculous. The
Yeah.
universe fell because a naked lady ate an apple.
Yep.
Well,
I'm sorry, a fruit.
Technically, though, Scott, it's the man that ate it that caused the sin, not the woman.
It didn't
Yeah,
matter if
because
she
he
had-
listened
That's
to
true.
a woman.
That's true.
Just saying, he told the man not to do it, and not the woman. The woman, obviously, like Dave Allen says, he came down and he pointed it out the tree, and he said, what tree? And he pointed at the tree. Said, that tree. Don't eat that tree. Right?
Yeah.
For those of you that know the joke, I'll let it go. For those that don't, unlucky.
Total train wreck. Anyway, you can see the decline since then, what the Bible says, the corruption for decay. So, I'm going to posit a couple things here. Number one,
Right.
I'm going to posit that an accumulation, adding up mutations, one gets preserved, then more mutations add to that.
Right. This is part of the genetic entropy argument, is that mutations pile up at generation after generation after generation, which doesn't actually occur. Correct, Mike?
Could you repeat that? I was playing with my
Quit
cat.
looking at something else. I know what you're looking at.
I was playing with my cat.
Well, the neutral mutations either may stay, they may go, who knows? But if they're deleterious, they are definitely going to get weeded out.
Did you ask
Because
a question about neutral mutations?
Part of genetic entropy argument is that they say the mutations keep piling up and piling up and piling up, and by now we should be so mutated we should all be dead.
Right. Yeah. Like Standing for Truth used to say, okay, if there were 100 mutations in every generation, then we have 7 billion people. Then there are 700 billion mutations a year, is what he was saying in the human race, right?
Right.
Dr.
No.
Dan on Creation Myths did a great video that disproved that. You know, he showed how the deleterious ones gets weeded out, and I guess it doesn't matter what happens to the neutral ones, you know.
And they drift out like
Right.
I have all kinds of mutations in I'm a bad example because I don't have grandkids, but if you have all kinds of mutations in you, Scott, okay, the chances are that about only 5% of those are in your grandkids, right? And it's going to go down in every generation. I mean, it's going to get shuffled around, and if you have a big population, it drifts out as things happen. And if something deleterious happens, if a mutation gangs up, you will have basically a stillborn child, or basically the pregnancy will never happen, or you will have some fairly serious birth defect. And humans are a little different because we take care of our wounded, but most animals would let that individual die. But there's okay, so here's the thing, okay, when a woman forms, as an egg, right? After about 14 cell divisions, there's a germline that is set aside. And by the time you end up with an egg, okay, there's only been 16 divisions. And in that germline, there are 16 times roughly 30 possibilities for mutations. Well, it ends up being 30 overall. So no, not 16 times, but 30 by the end of 16 cell divisions. And that becomes a germline. Now your somatic line, the part that gets cancer and that you live with, they keep, dividing, like your stomach changes lining once a day. So some cells keep dividing all through your life, but that has nothing to do with evolution. The only thing that's important is that germline. Okay. And then the other thing is when a gene is translated into mRNA, there are errors. When it's translated into a protein, there are more errors. So in your body, in every cell you have, 30% of the proteins that get translated have mutations in them. They have errors, but you stay alive anyway because mutations are not deleterious in most cases. There's a lot of changes that can happen to a protein and it's still functional. Okay. And that part they leave out. But 30% of the proteins have some kind of error in them. There's something wrong with them. Yeah, here we are. Tens of thousands of proteins, lots of mutations, and we're still alive.
And interesting to note that they're talking about an individual within a population having a mutation instead of talking about the general population.
The whole population, right?
Within the population, yeah.
Right.
By the way, let me, I don't know if anybody's clarified this. The guy speaking is not Dr. Phil Bishop.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, this guy is
the
owner of
the old guy in the flannel shirt was on the left was Dr. Phil Bishop. I forget this guy's name. I don't know what his credentials are. He's just the host.
Yeah.
Okay.
His credentials
Thank
are
goodness.
bogus.
Okay, everybody. Everybody's allowed to bash the bishop now. Our survey says.
Go bishop bashing. Woohoo!
All right. No more Dr. Phil jokes.
That's it.
More to that. An accumulation of mutations genetically cannot, now watch this, cannot create an accumulation of more genetic information.
Oh,
Why?
argument
Tell
from
me
ignorance as far as I can hear it.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
This guy's name is Dan Arsenault. Dan Arsenault.
Make sure you say that properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, forgive me. I don't have my notes for stuff tonight because we had a problem with the video for tonight. There was an audio problem with it. So we are revisiting somebody we looked at before, and forgive me for not having my notes on what the people's names are, but there we go.
Forgive him, guys?
This is Arsenault, and my apologies for saying this was Dr. Phil. That was the other guy. So we got it all corrected now, okay? This is not Dr. Phil. No more Dr. Phil jokes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think he's a business reporter from New Brunswick, Canada. I think I found his LinkedIn, but I'm not sure if that's him because he's younger in his picture. Yeah, that might be him. Same nose.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, let's see what his credentials are.
And I want nobody. So no more Dr. Phil jokes, and I want nobody saying that they're going to shaft Mr. Arsenault here.
That's right.
Now that's the heart of Darwinian evolution.
Okay.
You get one genetic change that is preserved, and then others add to that, and so you go from simple to complex. Richard Dawkins calls it Mount Improbable. We're climbing up the mountain from simple to complex, and it's very improbable unless you go to the backside. And it's a gradual ascent, of course.
If you could stop there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So basically, he's now saying it's called Mount Improbable, and before he said you cannot. He said you cannot get any kind of information from mutations. So there's a difference there, isn't there? One, you cannot, and one, it's very improbable.
Yeah.
And again,
and the other thing about it's not a mountain, it's a wave in a pool of water. So it's rippling all the time. So if you throw a cork out in a lake and there's waves, sometimes it'll be at the bottom of in a trough, and sometimes that trough will become the tippy top of the wave. So there's also the difference in environment that happens not only in time, but it also happens in geography, across geography. So that idea that you have to climb Mount Improbable is just complete bullshit. That isn't how that works.
genetic mutation that is positive after another. My claim today is that's
No.
And that's loose language too, right? Because a lot of evolution, well, it's unguided, so it could be doing something and then start doing something else and then start doing something else, right?
Yeah, they have like modern evolution has this whole unbelievable amount of mathematics involving things called cryptic sequences, and these are sequences that have mutations and sets of mutations that have happened but don't right now do anything. They called them neutral at one point, but at some point they can lock in and end up having a function, and if that function happens to be positive, it'll increase an organism's chance of survival. And if it ends up in an environment where there's a lot of stress and the population is small, then you're likely to start seeing speciation events at that point. But it's very, very complicated. And they make it sound stupid and simple so that you'll buy this bullshit about Mount Improbable.
Possible. It's not just improbable, it's impossible because of what the nature of mutations are.
Now we went to impossible. But
yeah, it should be Mount Impossible then.
Yeah, after you just pointed out, unless it was gradual, right? Unless it was gradual. Unless it was gradual. So if you take the side route there, that's not Mount Impossible, you can bypass that. And I think he's leaving out that, if they went around that.
Yeah. Well, also, they're going from a single chance of a mutation being, informational increase in one person as opposed to a population worth of mutations changing. So it goes from improbable to more probable by quite a bit, So
talking about information throws you off the track entirely, because all mutations are still going to be information. They're just going to be different information. And he's talking about gain of information, because that's a misunderstanding of what a genome is and how a genome actually creates a living organism. So,
and what does information mean in that context, right? I mean, it could only mean, or the way he wishes it meant, is more genes are added in than were previously there, right? Which seems to me not quite what evolution is, right?
He thinks it's like a blueprint for a limb, for like your arm. Like there's a blueprint somewhere in your genetic information that creates your arm. And that's not how it happens. That's not how it works. That's why understanding embryology is so important. It just doesn't work like that. There's no blueprint. There's no information bit that tells you how to create a limb.
No, that's like the simplification in elementary school that gets misinterpreted after time.
Yep. Bingo. Yeah.
And with that, like sometimes I feel like those simplifications are a bad thing, but also for so many people, they never need to know more about it.
Yeah.
It's just but maybe schools could be better in explaining that it is an extreme simplification.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you accept the simplification, if it explains it to you and you move on with your life, right? But if you're going to get on YouTube and start blathering about how evolution is impossible, then you goddamn well better know that it's a simplification.
It's not just a simplification either. I feel it's a very bad analogy. It's just a bad analogy.
No, but like if you're teaching kids what does DNA do,
it doesn't. But it doesn't fit what evolution is about, and it literally it's a terrible analogy to use because it's misleading, right? So I think the whole thing should be dropped for that angle. Information is not what you're talking about.
A better analogy would be a self-organizing puddle of mud, because that's basically how embryos work. They're self-organizing puddles of mud. strange things, but that's what it amounts to. Looks like mud, acts like mud, mutates like mud, and somehow crystallizes into an organism. But
Well, and the word information is just, used so that people say, "Oh, information that had to come from a mind." And
But
it
again,
has to
Yeah.
come from
We'll
an
refer back to-
information writer.
we'll
There's a
refer
physics
back to Peter Atkins that a simple molecule has information. That's all it takes.
Jason Jacoby.
there is a physics definition of what information is, and he's confusing that with the more colloquial information that people think about when they talk about numbers or codes or any of these things. They are different things, right? And like same the way he used the word entropy incorrectly in physics, he's using it incorrectly in terms of DNA, and that's why this analogy is so bad. It's because it's literally the wrong term to be using. Right?
They often use they compare DNA to how many encyclopedias, and it's a bad analogy.
Meaningless. It's meaningless. I mean, each DNA, each presumably each strand of DNA has more or less exactly the same number of what are they called, nucleotides in, right? So it's not about whether you expand the number of DNA. That's
Right.
not. It's the same amount of information. It's just doing different things depending on how it's working and in which it's a process. So it's what order it works in as well, and how long it works for. And there's many complex and overlapping things, obviously. But it's the same information. Right? It's not going down. It's not going. Yes, if you die, you have the same amount of information in your DNA as somebody who lives.
Yep.
Just a bad analogy. I'm sorry. It just gets me. That's all.
The second thing I want to say today is that the most well-known, scientifically, the most well-known mutations, we know a lot about those things now, a lot more than Dr. Darwin did, they are lauded as celebrities, if you want to call them that, for Darwinian evolution.
I want to get an autograph. Lauded as celebrities. Okay.
And they are at best lucky, broken things. They are not an accumulation of genetic information.
And once again, you don't have to break something to change something slowly, right, Mike?
Like that heart gene that appeared in Italy in that one small town that they want to say is a lucky broken thing, and no, it was an actual mutation that made a significant improvement in the cholesterol system in these people, so they could eat like whatever they wanted, McDonald's all day long, and they were living into their hundreds. But
that's not fair.
What the hell is the name of that gene? I'll have to ask ChatGPT.
McDonald's gene?
McDonald's gene, right? No, the KFC gene.
Yeah, they were doing all kinds of stories like, oh, it's because they ate this, they ate that, this and that, and then it came out that no, it was something that genetically changed.
Yeah, and
so
Donnie
all over
Deals,
the world were trying to eat these diets so they'll all live to 100, and it doesn't work for you.
So Donnie Deals was going on and on about that about 6 years ago, and then I put him in his place, and he shut the fuck up about it for like 5 years, and now the other day he brought it up again. He's back. It's like, oh my god! I showed him exactly what happened. It was
they do that. They'll dig up old stuff now and then and rehash it.
And here we go again. Darwin wasn't actually a doctor, so he called him Dr. Darwin there, but he wasn't a doctor until much later in his life, 1877, apparently here, when he got an honorary doctorate. But he was not a medical doctor.
They probably don't understand that because they think they are doctors and professors and.
Well, he thinks. Well, the other guy thought he was, and he was a kinesiologist. So who knows?
Doctors everywhere. Dr. Phil. Oh no more Dr. Phil jokes. I'm sorry.
You can't go from simple to complex via mutations, which are genetic mistakes. And they're very odd.
No,
Why?
the bad language.
Yep.
It's they're it's the nub thing, right, Mike? That the nub can't become some. Well, yeah, the nub can
Yeah,
become a
right.
flagella, or it can become a limb, or can become an organ. It can become all kinds of things.
Okay, made by Jim Bob's story. He says, how could the penis evolve? There would have to, first of all, be a nub, and that nub wouldn't do anything. And it's like, okay, he's talking about his own nub, I think.
Oh, brilliant.
And he was serious.
The hyena, I think it is, that's all they have is a nub. They just kind of rub the nub, and that's good enough.
But
And
I'll tell you what.
works.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What?
Well, I'll tell you what. It says to me, what Jim Bob says there is, tell me you don't know where the clitoris is without saying you don't know where the clitoris is.
He doesn't.
That's what that says
no
to me.
idea.
There. Poor Jim Bob.
Yeah, that's a
No,
classic
for
nub
women
there.
that he's been with.
It's like, wait a minute. Well, if he found out they had a nub, then he wouldn't sleep with them because he's so homophobic.
I don't know. He doesn't believe in nubs.
Yeah.
I know. Somebody might be in the closet. But he likes dressing up an awful lot. I'm just saying,
He does, yeah. He likes those fancy shirts.
Idea of saying it's a mistake, which most scientists would say that, implies design, that here's the way God made it, now something's broken as a result of some kind of calamity.
Like fallen man.
Well, see, that doesn't follow either, that we're all broken and falling apart, because, again, you've got how many generations and we're not falling apart. So
yeah, we're not falling apart.
That doesn't follow for the creationist argument either.
I think, like Dr. Arsehole here, I think I am also falling apart. I think that's what he's referring to.
Yep.
We're all
Yeah, that's what
falling apart.
happens when you divide too many times, But
yeah, when you rub your nub too many times, you
rub
lose
your
your
nub
sight.
too much. Yeah.
You're gonna go blind, Billy.
Let me give you a list here of some helpful. We manufacture these mutations on our own.
Never you.
We want the list. We're getting a list.
What do we do?
We're promised a list.
Manufacturing mutations. He says we manufacture mutations all the time.
Tell me more.
Like, yeah, let's go. Let's find out which
We
ones.
call them GMOs. And a lot of people think that the GMOs are generally really bad for us as humans, and that very well may be true. Most people probably think that. But let me give you a few examples of they produce some advantage, but they're all breaking things, okay?
No,
the changing.
Changing.
Yeah. I had a GMO tomato sandwiches, and my light broke.
No, but like if
Go
you
ahead,
change the tires on your car, are you breaking your car?
Yeah.
Right.
How do they get from changing to braking?
Yeah, when you go from snow tires to summer tires or back again, are you mutating your car? Is it breaking down?
Yeah, but you're changing something, but you're not breaking anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you do it correctly.
Well, there's the idea that everything has to die for evolution to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't believe in any branching or anything. They just believe, the comparison is often, did all your cousins die so that you could be here? No, your cousins are still alive, right?
Yeah, no, but
there's this idea that all the generations have to be gone and extinct for the next to come without any branching. That's where they lose the argument right there.
Yeah, no, but that's like you can already disprove that with the lizards that we mentioned before, like that were around that lake, that one side of the lake, both went around a different side, and when they met back up, they were so different that they actually were different species and could not mate anymore.
Right.
Yeah, the
Like, that
ring
doesn't mean
species.
that all those lizards at the beginning that those don't exist anymore.
Yeah, but the lizard still exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's often they can't go the leap is what it is, right? Like he said at the beginning, he'll accept what he called microevolution, that some things happen, but then they have like an invisible line, right? And whenever you try to press them on, well, where is the line? That's where it breaks down, because they don't really know what the line is, right? Okay, you can take a couple steps forward, but you can't get to the end of the block, right? Well, why? What's stopping me from getting to the end of the block?
What's stopping you from going further? Yeah.
If I can take another step and another step, and the whole time, you can still be alive and reproduce and everything while you're advancing down the street. So that you can never. Hawaiian shirt guy has been pressed on it before, because he always says there's a limit, and when pressed on it, he can't give you what a limit is.
Yeah, what is the limit? A really good example
is other than physics, obviously.
Okay. Really good example is limb development. From fins to limbs, we know so much about that, and we have so much fossil evidence of the differences. But basically, the rudimentary fin, when it was able to push down on the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of the lake or body of water, it was a rudimentary limb. And then as it developed different sections of it, basically, and we can trace back your humerus and your tibia and all of that to, or not tibia, but humerus and what is the other one? All the way back to little parts of that limb, right? And you can see the genes that have to change, and they ain't a hell of a lot that has to change in order to go from a fin to a limb. I mean, it took a long time, but it's functional all the way up. That limb is functional at every step of the way.
Yeah, you see fish that dig burrows and stuff, and they're flapping their fins, right, to dig the hole and stuff. And if you have a little bit better fin that makes a little better hole, and the Mrs. Fish says, "Hey, I like that little cave you made better than the other fish," that's all you need, and that can grow and grow. But that's the thing. What is the line? And they don't have what is the line where it stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scientists have enabled plants, crops, to dwarf themselves. They don't grow as tall or as heavy as previous crops. And the reason they want to do that is so that they don't fall over with weight once they get full of grain. And it makes it a lot easier to harvest those things.
Hey, Jess, Dan got back with you. Good news. Putting Jess in contact with Dan Phelps. That's a friend of the channel. We've had him on 2-3 times. Dan's been here. Give Dan all my best for me, Jess. Getting Dan hooked up with the ARC protest. And speaking of, where is it at? Don't forget, ARC protest this July. Just in the description below, we've got links for everybody's channels. We have links for Joe's, all kind of stuff going on, including Joe's affiliate with the smoke shop. And there's a code that you can use to get a discount. You can check that out. And we have the Grayson Jason Lyle debate or video in the description. And while you're here and below and everything, make sure you like and comment, subscribe, and all that for my channel as well. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and remember the slogan.
Another one would be
no way, Noah.
Non-shattering pods. That's a GMO. And they have produced that so that the pods don't break too early and spill on the ground, and then you can't harvest them. So it's all about the harvest, which is all about the money.
It's all about the money.
What?
All
All about
Harvest?
the dum dum da da dum dum.
Harvest? Hang on a minute.
It lost me there.
Yeah. I think we went from evolution in the natural selection to people growing shit. One easy
capitalism or
step.
something. I don't know.
Yeah. God. Yeah. That's the problem. God's like had all these plants ready to go.
There is a low phytate corn that has been produced mutatively, let's say, and the reason for it is cows can eat it.
Mutatively. Is that a word? Is that a word?
I like it.
But have we not been doing this like forever? Like,
Yeah.
have you
Yeah.
seen what the original banana looks like? Sorry,
Yeah.
Ray. No, but like
Yeah.
So
GMOs, the only thing is that we do it directly now without, but we've done that with selective breeding. That's basically the same thing.
Everybody knows about Ray the Banana Man, where he demonstrated that, look, God designed the banana just perfect for us. And then everybody pointed out, no, we designed that. The natural banana is
Yeah.
nothing like the one you're holding in your hand.
Yeah.
And I think Hoven's been pointed out with what is it, the broccoli and the mustard plants and all that family and all the different vegetables we get from that branch of the family. And well, yeah, that happens. Well, then again, where's the limit then? If you're going to accept that, go ahead.
I think he's going to make the point now that this low phytate corn that they took out a gene and they actually broke it or reduced it. But he's going to leave out the fact that corn used to be like a grass with a tiny little stalk on it. And after 1,000 or so years of basically us tinkering with it, we ended up with these big, huge corn kernels, right? And popcorn and all of that stuff. He's going to leave that part out.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
It was like a ditch plant, you know. It was,
like
like
just
that rough grass that grows by the ditches. Yeah.
Yeah, like Timothy grass is kind of what early maize looked like. So
Yeah, I don't know. And that's not well, and that's not having GMOs, but it's selective breeding. But like, basically, you're doing the same thing, just with a different method.
Yep.
Yeah,
And we're doing a lot faster
I,
and more.
I really don't think I don't get what people have against GMOs, but
like Mike points out, it's a lot faster where you can do it in the lab versus having to wait for the generations to do it themselves.
And you have so much more control over it.
You can do it in the greenhouse. Like I did it when I was in first grade. I had this, we had a greenhouse and I was growing beans and I kept picking, like in my little first grade mind, I thought if I had big leaves, I'd end up with big beans. So I ended up selecting only the beans that had the hugest leaves. And after about 4 generations, I had these tiny little beans and gigantic leaves.
Gigantic leaves.
Yeah. It's like, oh, shit.
Mike's not going to survive the apocalypse, folks. His crops are all going to fail.
Yeah, so what do you think about this is the tactic then, Mike? Persuading them, these Darwin refusers or whatever, to accept microevolution or admit on camera in a debate that they accept microevolution, right? And then at least having that as a starting point to then go, okay, now explain to me why microevolution can't become macroevolution. That kind of narrows them and makes their task a little bit harder, I feel.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of people get bogged down in these minor details of like, saying things like improbable and all the specified mumble swerve, right? Which doesn't really address the issue, because if they've accepted microevolution, then all we're talking about is just a more lengthy process, which seems to me a bit easier to prove than going through all of the technical stuff. So
I think broccoli and cauliflower and all that whole cabbage family or whatever is just an absolutely perfect example of evolution. The only thing is you can still cross them, so they haven't gone that far that the genomes don't match up. But I mean, this is close. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about macro evolution, a development of some very new form in the animal, right? And okay, look at Brussels sprouts, and then look at broccoli, and then look at cabbage, and tell me that is not a new form, and it's a radically new form.
Nah.
Yeah, nah.
What are you yapping on about?
Yeah. Yep.
Whether or not we can. And so here again, follow the, you got it, money. New colors of flowers can
Follow the money again.
That's to do with the GMO.
What
That's to do with the
Yeah.
GMOs. That's
Yeah,
just
well-
like poisoning the world, basically, for his incredulous believers, his incredulous,
It
audience.
takes money for the electricity and the equipment in the lab and the scientists doing the work. Yes, things cost
and
money.
they're companies,
You know,
they're businesses, right?
they're,
Of course,
they're
it's
businesses,
America.
sure.
What do you expect them to do? Just give it away? I mean, come on.
Right?
Like, does this guy do it? He doesn't even pay tax, probably. Come on now.
Sovereign citizen, just know it.
Well, I was thinking he's a pastor. He's probably got a, what do they call it? A
Same thing.
C5893 for AC, whatever. I don't know. Tax.
Hi,
thing.
hi, Tori. Good to see you.
Hey, Tori.
be produced. But it's always by breaking something. Some color is left out, and new flowers are produced with new colors, and they're certainly beautiful and advantageous to our eyes, but
Oh,
it's
there we are,
not more information, it's less.
How
Wait
is
a
it
minute.
less?
No, it's
How is it
different.
Yeah, wait a minute. You just
Different.
described
Oh, wait,
changing
wait.
flowers. Go ahead,
It's
Brainless.
showing his racism. Like anybody who's different is less apparent.
The wrong colors.
I don't know.
if you look at a-
Blue on the wrong
that's what it
side.
sounds like to me.
Supposed to have blue on the left, not blue on the right. What's wrong with you? Stupid flower.
But if you look at wild roses, they had real simple petals, and then the roses that we, sell on Valentine's Day has all these complicated, forms and petals and colors. And what the
Oh,
hell is he
yeah.
talking about? Less. It's not less.
Yeah, let me say this quickly. The house my parents bought before I was born had we bought it from a guy that used to just grow roses, and when we bought it, there were 250 unique varieties of rose in the garden.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? 250 new roses that he had bred.
Cool.
I like
No,
my
I mean-
roses. I've got about a half a dozen roses out in my by my pond garden area there. I like roses. And yeah, a lot of them are
Roses are pretty.
Yeah. Some of them, I got the very simple flowers, and then other ones have very complex. They almost look like a carnation. They're really dense with all the petals and intermixed with all the different colors. And yeah, the bees buzz around between them, and you get different ones pop out. It's
How old is-
clearly evolution. I don't know.
How old is the plant, Dave? How
My
old is the plant?
plants?
Yeah, the rose plant.
Some of them are. The big bushy one I've got's been there for 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And
They are especially beautiful when they get to that kind of age,
Yeah, it's kind of messed up a little bit because we did some fence work back there, but I'm gonna little tender care, and it should be back in business by the end of the season. Yeah, so I've got climbers and the bushy ones, and a couple of them that are more what do you call it? Where they grow those nice stems for a flower, like for individual roses,
Yeah. Nice.
I got a little mix. Yeah, I like roses.
When my parents moved in, of course, my mum wanted to garden, so she took out most of the rose plants. But then what we did is just went around the neighborhood, just giving them to people to put in their front gardens or back gardens or wherever. So you
And
go
it's
around these 3 roads or 4 roads, and all you see is rose bushes.
And if you have somebody hop in your fence, it's a good place to plant a rose bush.
There you go. Yeah.
If you have a window that you're worried about with a security issue, good place to plant a rose bush, right? Just saying.
That's
Just
definitely.
saying.
Yeah.
Cheap and effective security. If you have a trouble spot,
And even pretty. So,
and pretty to yep. Bees
smells nice.
and hummingbirds and all that kind of stuff. Win.
Thorns.
Well, some of them got some nasty thorns on them. I know. I've had to dig some out of me. Those real spiky ones, those are wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, some are.
They keep
Yeah.
raccoons out? Will they keep raccoons out?
I don't think anything can keep raccoons out.
Nope.
Yeah. I had one I caught on security camera. Something was knocking over my plants, you know. I'm like, so I reviewed the camera over the middle of the night, and you could see I've got a bunch of that vine all growing across the back like a backdrop, right? And you could see it rustling and rustling, you know, and it was climbing right through all that.
Yeah.
Right? That's the densest part, right? Worked its way right through and came down, and was knocking my pots over and stuff as it was snooping around the yard looking for stuff.
Yep,
Yeah,
every
they
night
are.
they're in my
Those are
garbage.
quite pretty animals as well.
They're persistent. Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're pretty animals.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh, they are pretty.
well, then again, which animal isn't?
Yeah. I love
Around here-
raccoons, but they got to be too much of a problem. They love me too much.
Around here,
Well,
people
all
had
the
problems with them getting into their garages and stuff, and into their attics. And
Yeah,
they
quit
got
with-
a real problem because they don't want to leave once they're in there.
Yeah, but
I
that's
quit.
that's the same thing with crows. Like those are also really smart fuckers, and like that makes them very beautiful, and like even just the bird itself is beautiful, but it also
and if
makes
you-
them a big nuisance, especially on farms.
Yeah, I fed them like $100 worth of dog food a month is what I was up to, and I had ended up with 660 of them, and they were all just fat as shit. Some of them
Mike was
looked like little
naming them
bears. Yeah.
Mike was naming them, getting them little hats and stuff.
And then they started breaking into the cat fence, and the cats were pretty and coming through the cat door in the middle of the night and eating fucking food out of their dish. And it's like, okay, I'm done. And I weaned them off. I feel so bad about it, but yeah, I loved them.
Don't feed the wildlife.
Yep, I guess not. 60 of them, Christ.
Because they will end up outsmarting you.
Well, they did. I worked for like 4 years on this cat fence with a cat ceiling and everything to keep the birds and shit from getting my cats. And those goddamn raccoons. I mean, I'd be patching that fence constantly. I swear they were out there with arc welders and torches and cutting through the fence. And oh my god! And they had little goggles on too, so they looked like they were welding. So
yeah, but like stuff like that, I think that actually does make the animal even prettier. Like how fucking smart they are, how much they can change.
Mike was evolving them into super raccoons.
And in this case, the changing is breaking it. But like,
yeah, and
but then again, like,
they've tracked these raccoons and have found out that they are getting smarter and they're getting better at engineering in cities. Like over the last few decades, we're actually selecting for raccoons that are, I think, smaller. And they're less aggressive, but they're much more mechanical. And so we're actually modifying them. Yeah.
No, but also if you have that trait popping up, like that is so advantageous in the city. Like there's a lot of material that they can use and like a lot of obstacles to overcome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that would be one of the traits that would prosper.
Yeah, I use screws to screw part of that fence into my
Rochelle had a
steel
fender bender. Rochelle had a fender bender in the parking lot. Everybody's all right. Somebody just dinged the car and left. That sucks.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
so I had these screws in this metal siding, and every night those raccoons would be sitting there with their fingers trying to unscrew those screws. but they were too tight for them. But they still try every goddamn night. Eventually, I'm sure they would have gotten them out. But now, yeah, I am in the raccoon coat business now. If anybody wants a raccoon coat.
Davy Crockett hats.
Yeah, Davy Crockett hats. Anyway, what else this guy got for us?
Oh, yes, squirrels. Yeah.
I guess from a scientific standpoint, the number one, at least in genetic labs, especially with students, the number one experiments have to do with fruit flies. It's a favorite subject. And
I know where he's going.
The reason is they can induce those fruit flies with lots and lots of chemical mutations and radiation causing mutations, and they produce lots. And this is, I'm talking about for a lot of years now, they produce a lot of really weird flies.
Yes.
Guess what? They're all still flies. There's no.
Yeah. Why is that?
Guess what?
So you know why that is? Because that's not what we're doing. We're not trying to evolve fruit flies. Okay, we are modifying each of these genes that you see here, so that we can figure out what the gene does. So this tailless gene right here, if you mutate that so that it doesn't have a tailless gene, the fruit fly will come up and it will not have an ass. Basically, it'll just develop abdomen and head. Yeah, and hedgehog, if you take that gene out, you'll end up with a fruit fly that looks like a hedgehog. And wingless, if you take that gene out, it looks like it doesn't have any wings. But why are we doing that? We're not doing that to produce a new species of fly. That would be very difficult. We would want to make more minor changes if we wanted to do that. We're doing that to study how fruit flies develop. And this is a map of the different phases of development from basically the top here, where you end up with the maternal genes and it goes down and it forms these little strips, these segments on the insect. But look at that map. Now, if you were to design something that's stupid and you worked for Ford Motor Company, they'd fire you because this is just, there's too much interaction going on there. And this is a bunch of gene regulatory networks. But anyway, I've been studying this shit, and he's full of shit. We're not trying to make new fruit flies. Take me down, Dave.
All right. And Rochelle, just so you know, we're doing a revisit tonight. The video we planned to show tonight, we had some audio issues. I for some reason, it would play for us, and then it wouldn't play on StreamYard. It was very weird. So we had no audio.
They recorded it in stereo, and they only recorded one track for some reason. I don't know why. So you got to play the right track. So
it's really weird, and it wouldn't play. And I tried everything. I tried to do it again and rendered it all over again right before the show. Still wouldn't play. So we have plenty of extras for almost every show we've done. So we figured we were going to do some revisits anyways. So it was kind of thrust upon us this evening. So we're doing a revisit, and we're covering a little bit more of the stuff we didn't cover last time. And to be honest, we're just past halfway of what I have, including the first part that we already covered. So we've got plenty for Mr. What was his name again? Anderson?
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Arsehole? What?
1976. 1976, that's when I first started supporting Arsenal.
All right, there we go.
No genetic information added. They just get more and more weird.
They just get more and more weird.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with you, Mike. You just keep getting more and more weird.
Yep, more and more weird. Yeah. I got arms growing out of my eyeballs.
I don't know what that was supposed to mean, but brainless. You're a specialty in weird. What the heck does he mean?
I don't know. And I hang around Slim, so then it must be really weird.
We've got our expert in weird here when we need him. there's brainless, and no, brainless doesn't get it either. So sorry.
And there's no evidence. How does that, producing a lot of weird flies, how does, and this is what I'm going to keep saying again, how does that relate to or point to or explain common descent, that we all came from one common ancestor?
Well, as Mike was pointing out, it's how you can change genes to do things, right?
Yep. Slow change over time. Sorry. With lots of experiments.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask him the same sort of question, couldn't we? We could say, how does God explain objective morality? He's got no answer. He's got no answer. He doesn't even have small changes over time for that.
Yeah, and the fruit fly people have accidentally created populations of fruit flies that can't interbreed with the wild type. So technically that would be a different species, even though they look very similar. And if they modify the eye color, to from red to black, they would end up with, a actual bona fide new species. But engineering a fruit fly to be more efficient, I don't know what the hell we do. Give it faster wings, longer legs. I don't know. More brain cells would help.
Hello, Deviant. Deviant says, I'm getting less and less weird with time, while those I surround myself with get more and more weird.
Well, yeah. Why is that? Like everybody but me is getting weirder. I think you got to check what you're smoking.
We got Randy too. Hello, Randy. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hey.
Well, it doesn't. How does that explain going from simple to complex? Everything that we can do to mutate, it breaks something.
No, we already corrected that. Stop that. And
come on, even I get that.
Well, we have to acknowledge things do get broken, and those things are weeded out.
Well,
those are weeded out. Right.
He was just talking about corn and broccoli and things like that. Did we break that, or did we make it better?
Right.
I mean, he was just talking about stuff that we made better, with GMOs.
Yeah, and I guess with the fruit flies, you're in part also breaking stuff, but that's to see how it breaks. But
right, to see how it breaks. That's what we're interested in, to see what these genes are responsible for, and the story is getting more complex the more we look. It's just unbelievable. It's a big fucking mess. It's not a design. It's just
it's like
mess.
Birds having genes for teeth, but they don't have teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can turn it on, and they can get teeth.
I would not want to see it. I would not want to see what happens if you turn that gene on.
I know.
Yeah. Turkey's already mean enough. They could rise up.
Oh,
there was a video today. There was a video today that came out. I forget what, on one of the popular science channels, about a bird that has velociraptor claws. It still has the same claws that the velociraptor had, and it's the most dinosaur-like bird that we know of. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll link it. I should be able to find it.
Cool.
Sometimes those breaks are a little bit advantageous, but it has nothing to do with going from simple to complex via natural selection and genetic mutation.
That's exactly why we just pointed out the bad stuff is selected out, and a lot of things have failed. You can't count all the things that failed, right? It's like counting all the car accidents that you were not in, right? It's kind of hard to count those numbers, right? They can only deal with the mutation numbers they can work with. Sure, there was a lot of failures, and they're gone. That's part of the natural selection. That stuff is gone. Bad stuff gone.
Speaking of failures, God flooded the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had a magic zoo boat. And Jim Bob still won't tell me the story of the magic zoo boat. Like, I keep asking. I'm disappointed.
Are you teasing him?
And get my jammies on and get a big bag of chips and listen to the magic zoo boat story.
That
Yeah,
sounds like an awesome
gonna
television
razz it.
program, the Magic Zoo Boat.
Wait, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna try and make these fancy intellectual arguments, and at the same time just accept mythology just because
My book.
it loses a lot of credibility in my eyes. I'm sorry, you're not being intellectually honest when you're not saying, well, of course there was flood stories, but no, there's no magic zoo boat. Yeah, but when you're accepting the magic zoo boat and just throwing everything out the window, all the laws of physics, all of geology, all the everything, all kinds of fields of science, and say no. If you want a great series on why there was no flood, R and Rod did a 10-20 part series, something in depth, all the fields of science that show why there couldn't have been a global flood.
That's my point here. I'll give you one last idea. In 1988, Michigan State University founded 12 separate cultures of the bacteria E. coli. And those microbes, this is going to get a little tedious, but you'll get the point, and this is the last thing I want to say. Those microbes feed on, let's call it eat, they digest, so they must be eating two things: glucose, sugar, and citrate. The problem with those bacteria, E. coli bacteria, is they ingest a lot more glucose than they do citrate, especially if oxygen is present, and in most cases oxygen and bacteria go together.
And this is Jay Bundy's specialty with the Linsky.
Yeah,
labs.
Richard Linsky. Yep. Yeah, Linsky's labs. Yeah, and the thing that they miss about Linsky is that he has used exactly the same environment for the entire 60,000 or 70,000 generations that he's done these E. coli. And he is not trying to create a new species either. That's not what the intent of the lab is. It's to find out what happens with various mutations. And they've done a lot of good work.
But he said that some of them started out being able to digest citrate. Wasn't it that was something that they evolved into digesting was citrate?
If the oxygen, I think if the oxygen turned off or something, there was a signal that caused the gene to turn on, that would start to or if the glucose went away, something turned the gene on, and there was a natural mutation that kept that gene on all the time. And that particular colony of E. coli, and it's not E. coli, okay? He thinks it's E. coli. It's E. coli, E. coli. You dumb. Anyway,
Just to be clear.
Okay. Yeah, that developed, and it became they were amazed at how fast it was growing because it found developed a new system of eating shit and growing fast.
Right.
And God forbid that should happen in your belly.
Now, if the oxygen is absent, completely absent, in one way or another, then the citrate is they like to eat the citrate. But the problem is once you run out of glucose, they cannot multiply. They can't grow. They can't thrive in that position. They can't do that. So E. coli bacteria reproduce really fast, which is a good reason to have them in a lab. So fast, as a matter of fact, that the expectation was, now watch this, if evolution is working like we thought it would, then these bacteria would evolve a way to uptake, and digest citrate. And by the way, it already could do that, but not very well, and especially the presence of oxygen. So they wanted it to evolve to do that. After 20 years, and lots and lots of, actually 44,000 generations, that's about equivalent on evolutionary terms of about 1 million years of human reproduction. So 44,000 in the lab got nothing. So they switched to a computer program, and I've got it down here someplace.
That's
It
not
is
what
called
happened.
Avita.
That's not what happened.
Yeah. No.
That's not what
And-
happened. Okay, it was a surprise to them. This population that developed that mutation. They didn't try to make. Is he trying to say they made it happen? Okay, he's going to talk about Avita now, which is Jay
Right.
Bundy's field. Yeah.
And this is not that they're switching to. This is a new tool they can use with computer simulations. So it's again, the language is, well, they're just going to use this. It's kind of the language there I'm wondering about.
So that's the new computer generated program here for this, and
Right.
announcement finally came after 31,500 generations of reproduction. One of those 12 strains of E. coli bacteria mutated to the point that they could then uptake citrate in the environment of oxygen. Voila. So how does this point to Darwinian evolution, which is not mutations and mutations? That's what we're talking about.
Well, again, this is an individual
gotta-
experiment, right? This
Get your facts straight. I mean,
doesn't explain everything. This is
It had nothing to do
individual
with
experiment.
it had nothing to do with Avita, and they weren't trying to create this mutation. That this happened after 30,000 generations, and then they started writing papers about it. He's got the facts all wrong. He's written his own little weird story in his mind, and he's out here preaching to people about it. So he's basically, now this is going to become the new fact for creationists, right? That, they use the program Avita, and he never explained what they use the program Avita for. It has nothing to do with the Lenski experiments. What the hell is he talking about?
Well, I know AIG attacks computer models all the time because they just say they're putting in the information they want into the models, right? So they're going to discount it no matter what.
Oh my God!
What do we got? As annoying as this dude is, I'm still happy the topic isn't pyramids this time. Yesterday, I had to watch twice how Kent Hovind showed a AI image of dinosaurs building the pyramids of Khufu. Oh my, what else there? I almost had a freaking heart attack and a stroke simultaneously. The Yabba Dabba Doo crowd is just precious, isn't it? There's Ken Ham has depictions in these children's books of dinosaurs hanging out in the garden.
Dinosaurs built
pulling
the pyramid.
plows and just like the Flintstones. That's why the joke still stands that yes, it's like the Flintstones, where they got the brontosaurus picking up big rocks or whatever.
It's amazing what some of them will say. Jill told me once that the Neanderthals built the Tower of Babel.
Oh man!
There you go.
There you go. Just random.
Flintstones. Flintstones as a documentary, basically.
Mike, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but one of the creationist organizations, not AIG, like CMI or ICR, or one of the other ones that I follow. One of them actually joked that, pretty much like the Flintstones. They
made a joke. Yeah, they were serious.
Oh
my goodness!
What do you call a Freudian slip, or kind of chuckling about it? But basically, that why couldn't the dinosaurs help build Noah's Ark or whatever, right? Because they were there. So what's the term? You hitch them up with the plow and stuff. You know what I mean? The harness, whatever. Put a harness on them. And
dinosaurs like that. Yeah, they were just.
Yep. Famously, lizards have been used for ploughing for prehistory.
Yeah, what we know about dinosaurs, like that makes them seem like really easy to tame and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, they're quite small and like could not rip you apart with one move or whatever. Like of course they're gonna listen to you. Just hold a leaf of their favorite plant in front of their nose, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
man! This is
Yep.
stupid
Tame
shit.
dinosaurs.
Well, mind you, Ken Ham's Creation Museum has dinosaurs basically in the Garden of Eden. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think in Florida they use alligators to do plowing with. I think that's a known thing. Maybe it's crocodiles. I mean, I don't know what the difference is, to be fair.
keep the small pets away from the edge, the water's edge down there, folks.
How does this announcement and remarkable accomplishment, so that you can get E. coli to eat citrate in the presence of oxygen, how does that point to common descent, that we all came from one single living cell? And how does that point to go from simple to complex, which is obviously necessary?
It doesn't
Very
in either
slowly.
case.
Very slowly.
Well, those are bad questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a long roundabout way, it does, because it
Well,
points to evolution,
It does.
which
Yeah.
then points to common descent. So
Yeah,
you
it
know,
shows you
but-
that with populations and mutation, it shows you that a beneficial mutation can develop. That's what it shows you.
Yeah, and isn't this like they added the ability to eat that? Is that not adding? Is that not more complex? They're not taking away anything.
Well, and the actual when they actually looked into the genetics, a little piece of the regulation that shut it off is what got mutated so that it no longer shut it off. So now they will say, oh, it lost information because it lost an off switch, basically. But losing an off switch and gaining an on switch is like
I think
the same
so.
probability anyway.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like they need to. Have
They
their
always
off
find
switch-
some-
Never mind.
Yeah, they always find something about anything you come up with. They'll find something that they can jump on in the paper that is going to make their case again, right? They just use rhetoric to eliminate anything you come up with.
Yeah, Majestic Beck points out if the Israelites rode Tyrannosaurus into the land of milk and honey, there are books where they have saddles on dinosaurs and they're riding
Yeah.
around.
I mean, it is possible. I mean, they could be alien lizards.
Yeah, could be.
Could be.
For Darwinian evolution to take place? And the answer is it doesn't.
Doesn't.
Well,
They
there
give
go.
you
That's the answer. Don't know
That's
why
the
you
Jim
even
Bob
bothered
argument.
thinking about it, because the answer
That's-
is
yeah.
That's the Jim Bob argument. Well, evolution is
what
not a
we said.
scientific theory.
our service says.
Okay.
So let's just quit.
Yep.
4 quick statements and a conclusion.
All right. We're ready.
Okay.
E. coli already, before the mutations, could already digest citrate if there was no oxygen being involved. They had because it had a little switch. We actually
Right.
call it a transporter, but it's really a switch. So sometimes the switch is on.
What? Transporter?
The switch. The switch is called a transporter, Mike.
It's called a transporter. Okay.
Is that true or not?
Okay. I don't. There are transporters, but I'm not sure what the hell he's talking about exactly.
But the switch.
Oh, I
the switch
suppose.
is on.
Kind of round-a-way is explaining there's, like Mike said, there's a gene that gets turned on and off.
Yeah.
To allow the bacteria to take in citrate. Sometimes the switch is off. When the oxygen was present, the switch is off, so
Right.
it couldn't do it. It couldn't take it. Couldn't eat the citrate and digest it. Okay.
Okay.
So that I actually gave you number 1 and number 2. Number 3, the
That was number 1 and number 2.
And number 2, yeah, at once.
Okay.
Wow.
He's talking.
wonder-
He's talking about the citrate transporter, which is what the gene is called, but he's saying that that's what switched it on and off, and that's not correct. It would be a regulatory sequence. So that's what threw me. Okay. He's making shit up that he heard.
I'm surprised.
Sites, right?
I'm surprised. Next, he's going to quote where all this comes from, and I'm sure it's going to turn out to be John. It's going to be John 5:9 or something like that, because John is a lunatic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Give you the real story.
Patient in question broke the switch. As the E. coli finally reproduced after 31,500 generations.
See, I predicted that.
As it reproduced the on switch instead of the off switch. In other words, it broke the switch.
Broke the off switch.
No.
It basically mutated the off switch, so the off switch no longer basically attached to the right proteins in order to express the gene, or in order to keep the gene from expressing. So, but is it the same probability to turning it on, basically turning a gene on or turning it off? Mutations will work either way. And there's a very complicated sequence in front of every gene that has all kinds of proteins that attach to it. And it is nowhere near as simple as they're describing. So,
and this is the big problem too when we were trying to argue with the gym knob. Gym knob.
Gym
knob.
a good one.
Is this proof of evolution? Yeah, is this proof of evolution? Right? And it's like,
none of it.
This is a piece. This is something in a line of evidence, and this is over here is something in a line of evidence. And the one of the robust parts of the theory is that a lot of fields of science can converge to agree on things about evolution, and that makes it even stronger.
Yeah, it's not just one group that studies it.
Right, because you have geology supporting the biology, you know what I mean? You have other fields that all support. So you have you don't have a lot of dissent in other fields or anything, and you don't have necessarily a lot of this crossover in other fields like you do with evolution. The theory of evolution has so many other things that come into it that it's supposedly the most well-supported theory there is.
Less likely to be false is the phrase that I would use there. And by less likely, we mean incredibly less likely. The things that would have to be false in our scientific reasoning is not just in biology anymore. It would have to be in geology. It would have to be in whatever else. Lots of other forms of scientific discipline. Physics would have to change.
Yeah, what these guys could do is they could find some particular part of evolution from common ancestors and prove that transition is impossible, and they'd never done that because that would falsify evolution, and that's the job they had before them. But they want to distract us by talking about what we're doing, not what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be falsifying it. They haven't done that yet. Other than, that would be really complicated. That couldn't happen.
You take all the dinosaur eggs onto the ark and incubate them.
But also that's also something that you see like in flat earthers. I cannot understand this complex thing, so it must be fake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my wife had the Nature Channel on her there. They were talking about the emperor penguins down south, the South Pole, and 50 below, temperatures and more, and they managed to keep that egg warm. And that defies all thinking that there's any way possible. Anybody that raises eggs knows, you know what I mean? You have to have all the nice temperatures and take care of them, and you know what I mean? Or
anybody that knows anything about eggs
Yeah.
Anybody that knows anything about it.
But yet this thing manages to keep that thing warm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now you
It
say
doesn't
it
matter.
like this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I accept that, I have most of science and everything, right? It's still, I'm looking at that and I'm like, my brain is saying there's no way they can keep that egg warm, but yet they do. And it hatches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's actually also the same thing with homophobia, transphobia. Like, I don't understand it, so it can't be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's right there. There it is, right there. And it's still no.
Yeah,
no.
I think, yeah. And I think it comes from...
And I can understand it, like I said. Yeah, I can understand it because I was getting that feeling. There's no way those things can keep that egg warm, right? But yet they're doing it. You know what I mean? And you're just watching it and you're like, how do they keep that egg warm?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's partly the fear of saying I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I caught them doing
explain it. Yeah, they explain how they do it, and it still doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? You figure that wind would just whip right through, anyways. And it is amazing. Oh,
yeah,
truly, yeah.
I was going through a bunch of presuppositional arguments and tag arguments, and the one thing about Christians that really becomes clear is that they want to pretend that because God and because the Bible, that they know why we're here. They know what our purpose is. They know how the universe formed. They know how, they know everything about reality. That's what they want.
How horrible
and they're really hooked on that. And they don't like us when we say, we don't know. We don't know what's before the Big Bang.
See, that's the thing disappointing, Mike, that same channel has part of their one thing was the tag argument. That's got the bad volume. So it's like, man, I don't know if that one's going to work either. So that was disappointing.
Yeah,
anyway.
Tags pants anyway. But like you said it right there. It's this idea that they cannot comprehend how something without a mind could work, because all they can do is attach this purpose language to everything. Right. I mean, it's their vocabulary, which stuff is to me, this is what it comes down to. They don't have the vocabulary because they don't have the education. Right? And I know this is bad. Let me just finish this, Mike. I know this is bad because, like I said to Sal once, that the reason there were so many young Earth creationists in America is because of the poor education. Right? And by which I just meant, well, look, these people don't have the language to express themselves in a way which they're even able to understand and comprehend a bottom-up process. So, like, of course they're gonna use the language they have to try to describe what they can understand, and that's that's understandable. But the fact that they're ignorant enough to say that they know the answer, that's where it comes in. So that's why I wanted to tail bite onto you what you were saying there, Mike, about saying I don't know. They refuse
when they
to say I don't know, and they don't have the language.
And that's how you cross from ignorance to stupidity. Okay, when you're ignorant, you just say I don't know. I don't. That's not my field. When you're stupid, you say I know how this works, and it can't work. Whatever. But what I want to point out is they say, oh, this life is so complex. The cell is so complex that it's got to take a mind to develop it. Right? There has to be intelligence to develop it. And then 5 minutes later, they'll say, man has never created a cell in the lab. Well, if a mind is so goddamn powerful, why haven't we created it, right? I mean, like, what the hell? So they're always talking out of both sides of their mouth. Just constantly. This drives me nuts.
I wanted to say hi. We picked up a couple of new subscribers. Welcome.
Ooh.
And
hey, I need new subscribers because I'm really old.
While you're
and
at
I'm
it,
die soon.
Yeah, keep subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it. I think it's up to 444 now. Woohoo! Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, yeah, drop down there, subscribe, like, drop a comment, get down in the description. Tonight, we've got a whole lot in the description for you. We've got links to everybody's channels. Subscribe to them. We also have the links to Joe's channel because he's taken over, well, not taking over, bad wording. He's partnering up with the ARC protest. All the links there to Joe's channel. And Joe's also linked up with a smoke shop. So if you want to get smoke supplies, there's a link below and you can use, he's got a discount code so that you can get a discount on your purchase. And there's also a link for Bree's channel. Bree over at Hivesci has merch now. Get over there and get yourself a t-shirt. I've got one coming. I was hoping it was going to be here for the show tonight. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But yeah, make sure you get yourself over there, especially all my Grassman fans out there. Bree's got the stuff. She's got, I think, a Bigfoot, a Jersey Devil, a Mothman,
Nice.
something else too, I think, on some t-shirts. So want a t-shirt, get over there at Hivesci, get yourself a t-shirt. And we've got a link in the description for the Grayson and Jason Lyle video as well. And I think that covers everything. So yeah, make sure you hit the description. Lots of good stuff in there for this evening. All right.
So you'll be driving a Mercedes pretty
in
soon.
That's right.
Make so much money.
Citrate.
on merch.
We get to 500. We can get some Bigfoot emojis, and we'll have a lot of fun. We can spam the chat with those emojis. So share the video around. Tell folks to come over. We have a good time over here. We try to have some laughs, right? Good time. So have folks stop by. Appreciate it. And
I do that all the time when I'm online, but the people I meet in real life, I don't think they fit in here.
we don't. We're not all uptight here. We're pretty kicked back. Everybody here has a good temperament and everything. So we have a good time.
Yeah, I know.
Digesting it.
I'm from a religious
presence of
family,
oxygen.
So.
The off switch was broken. Now, same question. How does this point to common descent and simple to complex? It doesn't. Not in the least it doesn't. If God has not, look, if you're my age.
I've got 444. That's got to be some numerology stuff right there.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
I'm either going to have a good day or a bad day or in between.
In our own intestines, we have 30 to 40,000 mutations because we've reproduced our own cells for 70 years now. Evolution is going to kill us.
Yeah, evolution will kill us. Yeah.
What? Hang on. Are we mutating our own cells?
Yeah.
Well, there are mutations.
Every time your cells divide, you'll have some mutations, and eventually it does kill us. We know that. So things die. We're trying to fix that.
Okay,
but that's the germline though only divides about maybe 14 or 16 times before you get a new human being. But our cells, when you're as old as I am, have divided tens of thousands of times, basically, some of them.
Just out of interest, this is a complete diversion, but I was thinking a while back, if the cells mutate in the reproductive system, right, is that especially protected, or can they do that? And if they can do that, would that be like a faster evolutionary trait to take up in a population than something which was external to the reproductive system, something like, opposable thumbs or something? I don't know.
Not sure what the question was, but the germline is protected, so it doesn't divide that much, but it can get mutated. by like radiation or even age.
The reproductive system.
Yeah, the germline is what we're talking about. The eggs
Oh, is
and the
that what that's
sperm.
called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's more of a chance for mutation, and of course males will mutate a little faster, but it's very well protected so that the germline remains as pure as possible. I mean, if we took if you took a person and let them live for 100 years, cloned their cells, some cell, and let that thing live for 100 years, I don't think it would make it too far because there'd be too many mutations.
Right.
But still, living for 100 years.
If you cloned their sperm, say, that would be better then, would it, or not?
Yeah, it would be
Than just
better.
cloning a cell,
because
any random
because
cell.
the germline is kind of protected.
Okay.
Like in
So
fruit flies, I think it's like 4 divisions or something like that before you get a germline.
Oh, I see.
It's a lot faster.
Well, and when he mentions things that'll kill you and stuff, and it's like things like cancer will kill you, but it's like one of the things about is your body's naturally fighting bad cells all the time, so it's taking out these bad cells. But cancer's kind of losing the fight, right? And then the bad cells can overtake. So
yeah, but cancer is an example.
Systems, but there are systems in place where we're getting the body's getting rid of bad cells. He's making it sound like the bad cells are hanging around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, every one of those 27 trillion cells you have are a life form of its own, and cancer is an example of evolution. Basically, enough mutations happen where that one kind of cell, that one tissue, will start to multiply rapidly and take all the resources. And unfortunately, it eats its planet, so it goes extinct when you die. But cancer is basically a really good example of evolution. Life finds a way. Cancer finds a way if you live long enough. And yeah, we have a lot of systems to clean those cells up. And but it's evolution in action. That's why they're so interested in evolution and cancer research. The stuff I'm studying about the Drosophila, about the fruit fly, that is very much involved in cancer research, because all of those things that develop the fruit fly later on end up either immune system involved or involved in the death of the organism through cancer, that sort of thing. The same goddamn genes that make you grow a limb will eventually kill you if you live long enough. They'll turn into
That's
a
one
cancer.
of the things. I forgot, somebody was talking with Cy Gart, and that was something they brought up that stumped him when he was using his argument. Whatever, he's got his own little argument for things now along an ID line.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh. And he got stumped because couldn't explain the cancer with it. Yeah.
Cy has gotten worse over the years, I think.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with some creationist folks in his retirement years here, and it's showing.
If God does not put a time limit on the human species, which I'm convinced he has, we call it the second coming. If God has not put a time limit on that genetic entropy, we would all be extinct and we all would go extinct. But I think God created good. He created it complete. We have devolved and are devolving slowly but surely. But God put a stop. God will put a stop to it. I would recommend a book to you, Dr. John Sanford, who is a geneticist.
Oh shit!
Oh boy!
Yeah,
there it is.
Let me guess. You know the guy?
Yes.
Sal knows him. Sal Cordova's good buddies with him.
That's Sal Cordova's mentor.
That's his good buddy, John Sanford. He's the one that came up with genetic entropy, and they actually had him on. I think the NIH actually let him talk. They gave a talk, and it was horrible. It was just a horrible talk. The reason they let him is because we are concerned with human beings, that because we are such a very different species now, being civilized, that there's a possibility that we're multiplying mutations inadvertently, because we keep people alive that would have died if they were in the wild. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I had that
So that's-
discussion
yeah.
before. Yeah, that we're messing with things, and it's a brutal fact that folks should have not made it, right, and not reproduced, and what impact is that having, right?
Yeah, well, the 2024 election is proof that we shouldn't have kept reproducing. Genetic entropy.
That's genetic.
God knows what they're going to elect in 2028. Holy shit! Can't wait.
Inter-cousin genetic entropy.
Oh, that was cute. Thinking you'll have election in 2028.
Oh yeah, right. Thinking it'll be one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How optimistic am I?
Yeah. Dusty was talking about same thing. It's like, they ain't gonna have to worry about another election. So.
Yeah, good thing.
Well, that's what he literally said. Vote for me now, and you'll never have to vote again.
Yeah,
we'll fix it. He literally said that.
I know. I saw it. He says it out loud, and people cheer it on. It's like, okay.
Well, what I'm waiting for is the executive order that makes the head of the department, the Doge department, the next successor to the presidency instead of the vice president. They're going to switch it so that Elon Musk becomes president.
No. He hates the idea of President Musk.
Oh, does he? President Musk.
Oh yeah, because people have been saying that, like, oh yeah, it's President Musk because he basically runs.
Well, to be president, you have to be born in this country. So
yeah, has anybody heard?
Can you get bumped up even though you're not born in the country?
Oh, they'll fix that with an executive order. No problem.
No. Because if he does that, he has to accept illegal immigrants because Elon is an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
Right.
He came to the country illegally.
Yeah.
Well, he came legally. He overstayed the visa and just stayed here, which is how a lot of people do it. They don't climb over a wall or swim over the Rio Grande or anything. They come in with legally, whatever the visa, whatever you want to call it is called, work visa, school visa, etc. And then they just stay. They just overstay. They just don't go back home.
Hey, I got a really good question. Has anybody heard from JD Vance? Has anybody done a welfare check on him or find out if he's? Have you heard a peep out of him? What is he doing?
What I've been thinking. That thought has popped in my head as well. Like the only two people you hear about is Trump and Elon.
And Musk, yeah. Where the hell's Vance?
Adolf Musk. Sorry, Adolf Musk.
Okay, they've got Vance locked in a bathroom in Mar-a-Lago.
I actually made a GIF where it starts off with the Twitter logo with the text above it, like, how did we go from this? And then it changes and it says to this. And I took the image from the poster of American History X, and I changed the X to the X website, the Twitter X logo.
Oh yeah, nice.
But I kind of think I got a feeling like maybe that's where he gets the X from. SpaceX X, like sounds like a movie he would love, and
he's.
Yeah, my son says he likes to put sexual references and everything, and that's why he has X, and there's a bunch of other shit that he's done with vague sexual references or something. I guess that's where X came from.
He's a James Bond villain, is what he is. You know?
He is.
Oh yeah,
he's a perfect one.
Yeah, but like, isn't that
you're waiting for him to build a space dome or a island dome or something, you know, and have his own army, and they're all wearing shiny suits and
but now I think we should not have SpaceX get to Mars first.
No, yeah,
because he will claim it, and like if you when people at first he'll be nice, and people once you live there, and like a couple of generations, like you have no way getting back because you're poor as fuck because he extorted you to death, you know? Then he's gonna say, "Oh, you know what? That oxygen here, we're producing that. You're gonna pay for that."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you're in England, Brainless?
No. I'm even slightly more to the east. I'm in the Netherlands.
You're in the Netherlands, okay. Now we're
Yeah.
counting on you guys to fucking save us over here in America, right? Like we've been good allies for a long time. We want you to build up your muscles, build up your military strength, because you're gonna have to come save us, assholes, real soon.
It
Please.
sounds like you're going to elect a king, so there's no need to worry.
Yeah, and not a king like you guys got, not like tits on a bull. This is gonna be like tits on a cow. Tits on a cow is what we could call Musk.
I don't know. Musk is
King Musk.
I think he would fit very well into our royal family. I've got to say, he's racist. He's an idiot. I mean, what more do you need?
When I was a little kid, my uncles always used to ask me about tits on a bull. Like, what do you know about tits on a bull? Every time I try to do something. So when my kids were like 6 years old, they were I was trying to get them to help me with something. And then I said, Dustin and Dylan, do you know what tits on a bull are for? And they went and thought about it for hours and discussed it. And then I finally told them the portion. They had to do it. Yeah,
we'll have to check on where Vance is.
Yeah, he's probably like he's duct taped in a bathroom in Mar-a-Lago. So do you think he's in that bathroom?
He's in the Caribbean.
No, he's in a bathroom in the Mar-a-Lago duct tape because he probably said to Trump at some point, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Get the duct tape.
Rubio was in El Salvador, and they said they would house prisoners there for us really cheap. The country that has their prisons at 300% capacity.
Yeah.
And you know what I also think, like you're Democratic politicians, they need to rise up now. Like what usually happens to opposing politicians in fascist states.
There's been a few that one Republican stood up and said he couldn't vote for that bill they were trying to push. So there are a few. That's why I say I'm always holding out hope, just a little bit. It's getting really, really hard.
Yeah,
okay.
And by now,
eventually they're going to say enough. You know what I mean? It's like what Pence did. He goes, "Look, I put up with a lot, but this is enough." You know what I mean?
Yeah, and by now I think you can't even say that the Republicans are in power, because it's not the Republicans. It's the Nazi Party.
Yeah. Do any of them have a spine? It's very questionable. But he still has to deal with the system as long as that's still in place. He's trying to get rid of it, but so far there's some pushback. So
and there's already pushback from international, because he's fucking with human rights.
Oh, the whole thing with cutting off aid and all that stuff, and it's just like, we're going to save so much money, and it's like the money we give for aid is nothing out of the budget, and it helps so many, and it's just cruel to think somehow all our problems are going to be solved by cutting off medicine and food and potable water and stuff to these people. It's unreal.
Yeah, but also, it just is. That's not what they've said. Like, oh yeah, no, we're giving condoms to terrorists.
Oh yeah, I know.
What? Like what? And
yeah, I know. It's like, what the fuck?
It was so stupid.
Yeah, but what the problem is, people will hear that and will never hear the fact that that is just a right out lie, and that's the problem. But yeah, that's
Well, yeah, you've got a big problem with people that just don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, or just aren't interested in politics. And like,
Well, I wasn't until this shit happened. I would have loved to not be interested in politics.
Here's the answer right here.
It's so stupid. It's really so stupid. Come on. It's torture.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. We are so fucked.
Yeah, that's
Wrote
that's
a
always
book
my
called
go-to.
Genetic Entropy. I
No,
hope you'll get that book. You can
Dun,
find it.
dun,
And
dun.
if you're interested in this and really finding out the skinny on Darwinian evolution, it just doesn't work. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
oh,
Yeah,
you
go
get
to
to
hell.
the
there you go.
Wow.
John Sanford was basically who he's repeating. So
Yep.
Yeah. And don't go
that
anywhere.
explains it.
And don't go changing.
That explains it.
You mean breaking?
Or breaking. Don't go changing
Yeah.
the channel.
Now we got a few minutes
Hi.
left. We'll take a look at this.
Welcome
one
to Church
a
for
few minutes.
Skeptics.
Is
this an atheist one? This an
I don't
atheist
know.
one?
I don't remember. We'll see.
We are talking about evolution. And a lot of people have
Again?
said, why
Evolution.
do we need to fight this battle? And I've made
Yeah,
a couple
why?
of other videos.
That's a great question. Why?
Why are you fighting this battle? Yeah.
You know, it's clearly just a religious fight because you want to believe that you were specially created. But yet,
Yeah.
even folks like William Lane Craig, who is a top apologist, whatever you want to say about him, fine. But he's a top apologist. He's educated, and he will accept the science while saying you can still have your religion. So I just don't see what the problem is at all with accepting what scientists find out about biology, right?
Yeah, you could say that evolution is one of the tools that God used to create the world.
Sure.
Unlike,
Right.
Yeah, but
like,
the problem with that is it's a slippery slope, right? Because
Yeah.
once you accept that,
that's true.
once you
that's
accept
true.
that, you're accepting the age of the Earth as being billions and not thousands.
Well, they're
Yeah, no,
gonna,
but
they're going to
the
declare a
thing
special
is,
That's not a
creation.
problem.
They're going to declare a special creation. They're going to go to a miracle. They're going to go to a religious belief while still saying it happened along the way, right? These folks here are saying, no, it couldn't have happened that way. It had to be the Adam and Eve, the garden, Noah's Ark, and all that. Where, again, big mainstream people, like I say, like William Lane Craig and stuff, will say, no, I'm not going to buck up against science on any of this.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
And
and
it
like,
could be. I mean,
Go ahead.
the Adam and Eve thing. Basically, there still could be an Adam and Eve. At some point, there was like some mutation that increased our cortical wiring, right, to the point where you had this one couple that appeared, right? They could still have a bit of their myth, or they could say that maybe Adam and Eve represented a population, basically, where God did a miracle on our genome and man became special, and go from there. And there's a lot of Christians that are humble enough to say, I don't know which way it was. I don't know what happened. I mean, it could have been, I'm not going to second
the roots
guess.
of religion. Yeah, you could call it the roots of religion, right? When people first began to think, okay, there's a sky god, mountain god, whatever.
Well, when man
at
first
that point in history,
realized, when man first realized that he was mortal, that was the invention of death. So the story could very well be about that progress, right? That this is the point where man started to be able to think about his own death, right?
The problem with that, though, is it's obviously ad hoc, right? It's obviously, okay, now we have to accept evolution. Let's have an explanation of how the Bible works with evolution. Hang on. let's see how the Bible actually works with evolution, and that is clearly an ad hoc explanation. So I don't. There's no prediction that that would be the case. There's no prediction that God would use evolution if you just had the Bible. You know?
No,
So that's the
true.
issue with it. That's the issue
Yeah,
with
no,
the fundamentalists
but my
accepting
thing
it.
is like, if that's what they need to get up in the morning, then believe that, because that for a lot of people, religion is what
Sorry.
gets them up in the morning, like, and like the community to get out of it, like, but like, of course it's not needed, and like, I hope in the future we will move more towards complete eradication of religion, because there's always people that will misuse it. But there is people that really need that in their life to feel valuable and get up in the morning and not end everything, you know. And for those people, I say, like, yeah, if you want to interpret the Bible to fit modern science, go fucking ahead, and like, as long as you're not going to be an asshole about things, then like, I don't care whatever you believe, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
the issue
okay,
for me, though,
is
people
this...
have like, people want to control these people. It's not just whatever it takes to get you through the day. If you can't have morality any other way, better a bad way than no morality at all, right? That's the kind of argument that's being put forward, and that's fair enough. I can kind of dig that. If it's stopping you shooting people, probably a good idea that you do believe in whatever myth or fantasy you believe. The problem is people. The problem is people want to, whichever. But the problem is people want to control those people, right? And when you've got a book, right, which needs some sophisticated interpretation in order to get it fit into the natural world as it is, right, then you're talking about power structures. That's where this comes in, because I can control a lot of people by just saying, well, science denial, it's literally true, just believe in this, that's all you need, and you will have everlasting life. And then I can control people if I have that attitude, right? So the whole game isn't just about what it takes to get you through. The whole game is using people like William Lane Craig, right, as some sort of reasoning person, and saying, well, I'm in the same category as him, so you should listen to me, because trust me, you can't study this stuff for 20 years like I have, right?
Yeah.
So
But I mean,
I'm a lot more cynical about it. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
What is the point of religion, basically? Is religion the point of knowing exactly how God created you? Or is the point of religion how you feel and what your personal connection with God is? So, I mean, what are they even fighting this battle for? I mean, it's just bullshit.
Yeah, and like, these are the people that do this fight are the people that want to control everybody, because they got to disprove anything that opposes them. And like, I don't know.
The real reason
is, go ahead, Mike.
The real reason is that they all know in their heart of hearts how silly this whole thing is. And they view and they realize that science is starting to tell their kids that there's no reason to have God, that creation wasn't necessary, right? And their kids are falling away from them, and they're almost afraid themselves that they're going to fall away from their faith. But they're missing the entire point of religion by doing this. Okay, the entire point of religion is to have peace in your life and to live a good life and all of that. And they're completely missing that part of what the intent of a religion, right? You see what I mean? They're scared shitless, because when they think about it, they realize that what they've got is a Santa Claus story, that they believe in some bullshit, right? And they sort of know this somewhere in their intuitive sense. They know that this is bullshit. Now, isn't that interesting? Because I just did exactly to them what they usually do to us when they tell us that we're not really atheists.
Yeah, yeah.
Back
I
at
wish
you,
I don't know. Like,
motherfuckers.
I just think that the system has been set up, obviously, for a long time, and the more I hear about it, the more I realise that the whole God thing in
It's
general
about
is just
control. Yeah.
it's an appeal to authority, is what it
Yeah.
is. The whole all the arguments for God eventually come back to some kind of appeal to authority. Revelation is an appeal to authority, right? And that has just been co-opted by the bishops and the archbishops and the pastors and whoever in order to be able
Yeah.
to co-opt that kind of coercion in a community, right? To do exactly the same thing that God does, right? Which is tell you what
Well,
you should and shouldn't be doing based upon some arbitrary like designation of what was good for small tribes that used to live in the Middle East 2,000,
yeah.
3,000 years ago.
Well, go back and look at chimpanzees. They have a alpha male, basically. Wolf packs do, for Christ's sake. And
Nope,
then we
they
have
don't.
the father, the head of the family, the father, the big one, right? The one with the fucking muscles. And then we have the king and the chief and the president. And I mean, it's just so obvious that this is nothing more than the social structure of a group of primates, a small group of primates living in the trees. And this is what it's turned into. This big alpha male in the sky is all it is. It's
Yeah.
just so fucking ridiculous that it's 2025 people. Get over it. Jesus
This-
Christ.
And
This
alpha
era,
males have been debugged.
I thought her name was Asan. It's Ion. My bad. But the search picked it up anyways. Thank you, search. Mr. Deity
Ion
did a
is-
thing
yes.
about Ion, where she was the atheist now, or I think she was Muslim too before or something. I don't.
She
But
was
anyway,
a
Oh, okay.
she was a Muslim, and then she
Yeah.
starred in Bangkok's film, I think,
Fetna.
about thing, and
Yeah.
then she became an
That's-
atheist.
that's- yeah.
Right.
And obviously, because she was in the film, she had a death warrant put out by the Muslim community in certain
Yep.
places. And then obviously because of that, she changed straight to being an atheist, which I always thought was a bit strange. But now, like a lot of ex-Muslims, she's become Christian.
Hello,
Yeah,
James. So yeah,
Hey.
but he, if you want to see it, I'm not going to rip off Mr. Deity's material or anything, but go check out Mr. He's got a whole series about this, and it was what's been some of the discussion here is that it seems that she was in a really bad place. She was depressed, a lot of things like Brian this was saying, maybe you just have that really bad day, you need something to get through it. And it seems that's what she's using it for, as a crutch. It seems she's been searching for a crutch, right?
Yeah.
And this is not to say that, anything about her issues or anything, of course, we always wish the best for anybody. It has nothing to do with it. But it does seem to be a search for a crutch. So interested in it, make sure you check out Mr. Deity. And of course, great material over there. But yeah, he has a whole series about it. So
there's a little more to it as well. I think she says something like, she feels morality needs to be grounded in something like a God because of the bad behavior. But I don't follow that logic in her case because, of course, because she was an ex-Muslim, she must understand about the danger of being fundamentalist in that religion. So
Yeah.
I don't understand. And she's in America, right? And you've got Christian fundamentalists bombing clinics and shit like that. So
if you want, like I say, you want a perspective on it,
Well,
go check
yeah.
that out. And of course, I recommend the channel. It's a great channel.
And you don't hear shit about those bombings.
not anymore. No.
And what has Mike got? Are you drawing again?
I'm drawing. Okay, we over here on the left we have Adam and Eve, right? And they had
Right.
the perfect genome, and then they ate the apple right here in week 3 or whatever, or I don't know what week. but then instantly their genome suddenly started to fall. Okay.
Yep.
So something happened to their genome, right? But the way Adam and Eve's genome used to be is that they would live forever. So a research project for these idiots who want to disprove evolution, go out and show me what the perfect genome would look like. Develop the perfect human genome that would never mutate from one copy to the next. The cells would never get old. We'd live forever. What is that perfect genome? They never talk about that. They never talk about the absolute impossibility of this.
Somebody brought that up in like maybe in one of the Donnie Deals debates or something. And it couldn't be answered. Yeah. What, it may have been Dr. Dan or somebody,
right.
One of those folks. Yeah. They asked, what would be this perfect genome? Right. And, it's just perfect. Right. And there's no answer. It's just,
what is it? Yeah, exactly.
God did it. It's a non-answer. Yeah.
How would you create a biological cell that basically didn't ever have any errors? And that would mean that none of those proteins that were translated had errors. Everything would just operate like clockwork. Let them start to lay that out and realize how ridiculously impossible it is. Because for one thing, if they came up with that perfect genome that was like that, we would all look the same. We would all look identical. Yeah. We would all have exactly the same developmental pathway.
That would be fucking boring.
That would be weird, wouldn't it? It's like, God, well, it would change dating quite a bit, wouldn't it? Because we'd all be the hottest male.
Then dating wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but every time you made love to somebody, it'd be like doing your own sister.
Oh, and you'd also have to ask, are you really my wife, or are you the neighbor?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, how the hell would we keep track? It's like shit.
No, then it wouldn't matter. So you could just fuck everybody. Yeah, it's like, exactly. Hey, I'm horny. Who else is? And then you just fuck. Huh.
Right.
That sounds like fun.
And there wouldn't be any mutation, so it wouldn't matter. We wouldn't need for one thing, genes would not need to recombine. But the important part about this is think about this shit that they're trying to put down your throat. That during this short period, a year or 2 weeks or whatever, until Adam and Eve ate the apple, right? Everything just ate plants, and there was no death at all. And then suddenly the genome changed to the point where it started mutating. So the amount of changes, so God had to intervene right here at this point and he had to take his little fingers and go into Adam and Eve's, all of their cells, and change their DNA by miracle, right? They never talk about that.
But it's only on some things. It's only on the bad things, not the good things. That's always their argument too. It's like Ken Ham uses it a lot where he says, oh, look at the, beautiful sunset, the beautiful flowers and stuff. But you've also got these bad things because of the fall. And it's like, well, then why do you still have all the good things, right? Well, those are like leftovers. And it's like, no, well, wait a minute. If everything was cursed, you would think everything would have just dried up and gone black or something. You know what I mean?
Well, there wouldn't have been any thorns on bushes. He would have had to change that too all at once at this one little point.
Right.
Yeah, and don't forget what you mentioned. You mentioned the animals eating plants.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, all the animals had to change into carnivores, like
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, their digestive systems all had to get changed.
Yeah, the saber-toothed tiger would be sitting there, and all of a sudden his teeth would grow. It's like, holy shit, how'd that happen?
And their teeth.
Like, oh, God did it.
And speaking of teeth. That's another creationist argument, is that T-Rex and everything could have ate watermelons, because you have a lot of animals that have sharp teeth eat plants. But what they leave out is they also have molars in the back, okay? T-Rex doesn't have molars in the back. So you can still have teeth in the front for, defense, for ripping open coconuts or whatever they're used for, right? And
I
then
got
be
news
able
for
to
you.
chew with the back teeth, right?
If you hit a watermelon on the counter, you don't need teeth at all to eat it. You just shit. Watermelons. Oh my god. Oh, you see a T-Rex hunting watermelons. Oh my god.
That's what Ken Ham says is I don't follow Hawaiian Shirt Guy as much. I follow Ken Ham, but yeah, that's what he tells the kids is there's no reason a T-Rex couldn't have ate watermelons.
Yeah.
And they point out, look at this skull, and they'll show like a panda skull, right? And it's got these big incisors, or the big
right,
big nasty teeth, right?
Canines.
And canines, thank you. Oh, isn't this a vicious meat eater? No, it eats bamboo all day long. And of course they leave out the back teeth that are used for grinding it, and they leave out the specialized digestive system that can digest it, right? All those things.
Yeah, and like, have you touched bamboo? You know how fucking tough that shit is. Of course, you need some sharp teeth to get through that
you need
shit.
you need those tool.
Yeah,
those teeth for a tool to do something, but you also need the ones to chew it because it doesn't do you any good because you can't swallow that, right? You have to chew that up enough to be able to swallow it.
Yeah, and this is proof that basically genetic entropy, Sanford's genetic entropy is true, because our lifespan for the average male today in the U.S. is 78, and it used to be 1,000 years right after the fall, and the day before the fall, or the second before the fall, it was infinity. So that all makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, it's just a wonderful story that you're trying to get us to buy here.
Yeah, and there's a big interruption in there where the lifespan has actually gone up. Yeah,
and I'm sure all the Egyptian literature talks about all the pharaohs that lived to 1,000, 2,000 years back then, right?
Well, no. Ramses lived to a pretty old age. Like I think it was into his 70s or something. And for a lot of people,
that's far cry from 1,000 years.
But they lived and died their whole lives, and he was always pharaoh. You know what I mean? It was just like a reality that he's always pharaoh. You lived your whole life. He was pharaoh. He's still pharaoh, right? So that becomes part of your reality where pharaoh's always pharaoh. So it can be godlike, right?
Yeah.
You came and went, pharaoh's still there, right? And you had kids that came and went, and pharaoh's still there,
Got another video for us, Dave?
Yeah, we'll take a look at this for a minute here.
Okay. Oh,
he's still got.
I have bratwurst.
Concerning this,
he's still
got start in. Richard Dawkins, the prominent, I think retired maybe, Oxford biologist and atheist, prominent atheist, he hasn't retired from that for sure, said that the greatest contribution of Charles Darwin was that the theory of evolution, or he thinks it's not a theory, it's a fact, of course, but that evolution made atheism reasonable. Now, follow that from a logical perspective.
Well, it adds to the problem of Bible stories, but atheists have been around as long as there's been theists. So there's always been people that have said, I don't really believe what you're saying. So.
And also like if they're smart, how do they not know what the difference between a scientific theory and like how you use it in general life? How do they not know that?
Oh, sorry, guys.
But it's just
he got a phone call. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a theory. But what does a theory mean in science? It means the thing that's most plausible, that the thing that all the evidence points to. What? How do they
And
not
if you
get
want a
that?
fact, a scientific theory is pretty close to what you want as a fact because it's explaining an aspect of nature with a pile of evidence. So it you know, if you want something proven to you as a fact, right? Okay, well, here is an aspect of nature, and here's a library full of papers with all the research done on it, right? It's pretty close to being a fact. I mean,
Yeah,
of course,
well,
nothing's 100%, but
yeah,
you know, if you want a fact in science, a scientific theory is pretty close to being a fact.
yeah, but I believe in science they will never say it's a fact.
Sure,
Because,
right? That's
because
yeah. Things
because
change, yeah, but the idea though is evolution explains an aspect of nature, right? It explains something. It's explaining why there's all these species, why different species look similar, right? It's explaining all these things. So even if you throw out the explanations we have now and replace them, you're still going to have a theory of evolution, even if you call it something else that's going to explain this aspect of nature.
Yeah.
That's why we said earlier, and he asked at the beginning of this video or the one, why the fight or so, and it's like, why the fight against biology? I don't ask it as evolution. I ask it as, what is the fight against biology? And I think Hawaiian Shirt Guy's been asked before too, is what parts of the biology? Yeah, it was a teacher, I think, stood up and said, what parts of this biology book should I teach and what parts should I not teach? Right? What pages do we tear out is the question. And that gets really hard to answer. Right? Yeah.
He's conceding, number one, that prior to the theory of evolution, I'm going to call it a theory.
See, there it is. I'm going to call it a theory. It's a theory. This is what Jim Bob pulls. He just says it's not a theory. Prove to me it's a theory. This is ridiculous. It's already been elevated to theory because of the evidence and going through all the testing and everything. If you're just going to dismiss it, then I can just dismiss that Christianity is a religion, right? Oh, no, he's going to say back, no, it's a religion. I'm going to say, no, it's not. And he says, well, sure it is. Here's the definition. Here's what everybody accepts it to be. No, I'm just going to say it's not. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fact is not a scientific term. It's a layman's term, basically. When I'm talking about it's always a theory. So theory is as high as it can get.
Right. And that's the thing too. Yeah, theory is elevated in science. It's already been elevated.
Yeah, and like what they think of as a theory is what in science is called a hypothesis.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
And they conflate the two.
The wrong words.
Yeah.
Prior to the theory of evolution, atheism was not reasonable. Well, continue with the logic here.
Why not?
If
Darwinian... I just interject there because, okay, so the reason this is, he says this, and there's some caveats that he uses before that, is the idea that Christians before Darwin tended to be much more on the fundamentalist side, thinking that the Genesis was a literal account of creation and how humans got to be here and all life got to be here. And obviously, Darwin's idea of evolution is is an explanation which rivals that. Even back then, it wasn't thought of as being necessarily true, but even given that, they recognized straight out of the gate, the bishops recognized that the idea of evolution was going to be a problem going forward. Right? So
yeah, but prior to that,
right from the off. I mean, Darwin, of course, wasn't the first person to propose that something like this was true. right? Let's also say that it had been around before. Darwin had experience of people saying, this can't be true because there's no scientific evidence, right? And Darwin is just the one that provided the scientific evidence, the first person to put the ideas together and actually do tests, right? It's just something that is overlooked with Darwin quite a lot, is that he first came up with his theory a long time before he actually published on it, right? And he spent those intervening years not just sitting around writing it down in a book. No, he spent a lot of years in a greenhouse actually finding out a mechanism by which it was true. So, like, there is scientific evidence that Darwin put forward. He tested the hypothesis, made prediction, tested the hypothesis, and then proved it. That's why we call it a theory, and that's why he called it a theory, because it did fit the scientific definition.
The fundamentalism and the adhering to the creation story was not the only option. Okay, another option was agnosticism about how we got here. Another option was to believe that life was always here for eternity. I mean, it was like, and then when you go back, when you go back prior to civilization and you look at tribal ideas, I mean, they probably never even sat around and thought about this shit, right? They're just like, it's always been this way. This is life. This is the way it is. And so they didn't need a creation myth or a fundamental myth. So, I mean, it isn't like Darwinism came along and screwed everything up for them. It's there's a lot of other options.
But the point is that it made the prediction or the idea that Genesis was in fact a literal account of how life and the universe was, or how life was created.
Right.
This offered an alternative mechanism. So you could no longer say, this is how it must have happened. It's in the Bible. Right?
But I like to think there were people. I like to think that there were people 1,500 years ago that were smart enough to realize that it was that the entire Genesis story was a myth, basically, that was not meant to be believed in literally. I'm pretty sure there were a lot like that.
Yeah, that's some of the damage. That is some of the damage that Christianity did in terms of taking those people like Democritus and Anaxagoras who did say that no, there's a naturalistic explanation for all of this, right?
Yeah.
They took those and decided to, dismiss those people and encourage the views of Socrates and Plato, for instance, that thought that the soul existed and this was a better explanation. And that could allow you then to take the Hebrew myth, creation myth story as being serious. And most people did. That's what Dawkins is saying. Is back before then, and maybe a little earlier, before Newton even, then people in general, 90% of the people on the planet did think that the creation myth stories were true. And they were adequate explanations of how things happened. And the point Dawkins makes time and again is that with the rise of the scientific method, these stories slowly get replaced one by one, and it becomes ever more unlikely that we can take anything in these books as directly historical, and most of them are going to have to be taken as, parables or metaphysics of some sort. Right? So that's what he's talking about, and this guy is obviously straw manning that one phrase because he's taken that from the Darwin book, and forgetting what else was said at that point, or the point that Darwin is making, Dawkins is making at that point, which is to say that people literally believe this, and there are still people today that literally believe it. So he's still correct, right? Anyway, that's.
And we want to point out, Sam has it posted. A scientific theory is a well-substantiated explanation of natural phenomena based on empirical evidence, observation, and experimentation. It is testable, falsifiable, and can make accurate predictions. So when you say prove something to me that's already a theory, it's ridiculous, because you have to go through libraries of information that's already been done to elevate something to a theory. If you want to take on the scientific community on something, by all means, that's how science works. write your papers, submit them, challenge these things, get them changed. And if it's the right information, we will accept it. There's not a problem with getting the things right. Just poking holes though in stuff, it is not going to change the science, and it doesn't seem to be good science at all.
Also, these words are not prescriptive, right? Theory is not a prescriptive word. We have a definition for it. That doesn't mean that everything we call a theory is necessarily works under the same definition. Correct. I mean, that's just
none of that.
These.
None of that shit matters. What matters is the micro research that we're doing. That's what matters. I mean, none of this fucking philosophy of science. I don't have a lot of patience for it.
I do, and I still get frustrated with it. With it sometimes, and the way it's put forward as being the be all and end all of science. You know.
Yeah.
I understand I understand it's necessary. But you know, language is not the best game to be playing science with when it comes to observable experiments. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, and Sam, I don't follow Dawkins. And again, it doesn't matter what Dawkins says or doesn't say, right? It's what the consensus in his field says, and creationists will often find outliers that will disagree with everybody else in the field, but they're disagreeing with everybody else in the field. And maybe there's a slim micro chance they're right. Okay. It does happen. Okay. Yeah. But it seems to happen less and less these days than it used to,
Yeah. And I don't care whether Dawkins is, the man or not the man. Hang on a minute. I don't care whether he's the man or not the man. Some of the points he's made are just correct. That's what I focus on. If he says something which is right, then it's right, and it is right that before Charles Darwin, it was easier to be a creationist than after. That's just a fact.
Yeah. My point was that there are some things that I ran into recently that suggested that some of this literalism and foundationalism in Christianity is more of a 20th century phenomena, and that it didn't always exist back, in the last 2,000 years. No. That we've kind of shifted into this Western frame of thought, and in some ways, it's a reflection or a result of some of the scientific thinking that happened in the 20th century. That basically, the Western mindset sort of created this kind of thinking. And the other point I'd make is that this is very much about a power structure. And once they chisel their way in against academia, then they can control you in other ways by getting you to doubt the government. If you doubt the government, you might elect an orange Cheeto as president. If you doubt science, right?
An orange Nazi.
So
I agree.
There's something going on that's bigger.
Yeah, it seems that, and what Simos touched on earlier is that, the way to accept these stories are not to be literal stories. And I don't think a lot of these stories were written as literal stories.
They weren't.
They have like a lot of stories. Yeah, there's lessons or poetry, or there's something good or bad happened and somebody wrote a poem or something about it, and so trying to, as what you were saying as far as a new thing, most of this modern creationism stuff is the Ken Ham, Ken Hovind, and those Carl Baugh, all that generation. Before that, I went searching before for something. I was a video or something, and there was just little groups here and there, what people nowadays would call, little cults here and there that had those crazy beliefs, right? And they seemed to be the ones that were bucking science. But overall, I mean, yes, the church did a lot of things against science, but it also promoted a lot of science, and a lot of things were accepted by religious people from science, especially when it was good things, right?
Yeah.
So,
when my twins were little,
this is a modern, like you said, it's a modern thing, and it feeds into a lot of the conspiracy stuff. And I don't want to bring them all up, but we all know, with people with the thing with masks and everything else, right?
and
it just feeds to it all. Yeah. And, the climate on down the line, all these things is always that same group of people. It always comes back to the same group of people involved in all these same things.
They all buy the same goddamn set of shit, and it's absolutely amazing. When my twins were little, I created a rich mythology for them. Like I worked in the basement because I was an at-home work dad, and the basement stairs didn't have a door, and it was dangerous. And so we had dragons that lived in the basement. There were two of them. One was named Tooth, and he was mean as hell, and the other one was Diggy, and he was friendly, right? And they would never go down the basement, right? So we use myth, the Santa Claus myth. I mean, I had them sold on that and a whole bunch of other shit. And it was important.
Easter Bunny.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, Easter Bunny. It was important for their growing up, and they grew up and they got into science fiction and very quickly developed, and became good skeptical atheists today because that's what you do with kids, right? That's also what you would have to do with primitive man. You'd probably have to tell them some stories, right?
And that's part of, you can kind of see it too in young children with their imagination.
Yeah.
How a so-called simpler mind could have a much bigger imagination about the natural world, right?
Yeah.
It's like I say, when little Bobby does a science experiment for his kindergarten class, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You know what I mean? This 5-year-old or 8-year-old or, whatever grade school or very young children are doing a science experiment. Doesn't matter what it is. Give them a ribbon, right? But when the orange thing repeats something, right? Like opening the big valve up north so that California can have a lot of water, okay? It's adorable when Bobby says, the problem is we just got to get some more water to the crops.
Right.
Bobby's thinking, right? It doesn't have it all worked out yet, but when you're 70,
but when you're the president,
70 some years old, whatever, and you're saying, we just need to open this tap and get the plants some more water. And it's like,
apparently they had to stop him. Did you know that they had to stop him because he was going to flood all he was going to flood people out.
Yeah. He wanted to open the reservoirs.
Yeah.
Well, he has said before, the solution to California not having forest fires is to flood it.
Yeah.
That works perfect.
Well,
maybe that's what God was thinking about with the earth. Maybe that's what he had.
If a 5-year-old says, you know what, if it was all wet, it wouldn't burn. If it was flooded, it wouldn't have a forest fire. You would say, that's a good idea, Bobby. But in reality, you can't flood the state. Of course, if it's underwater, it's not going to catch on fire, right? But you can't put the state underwater.
Then you also tell that kid, but how would the plants do underwater? And how would the people live there? And then the kid be like, no, you're right. That's not.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that, right? Right.
That doesn't work. Okay.
Okay, this is starting to make sense now.
Orange man, no.
So Sodom and Gomorrah, God, got pissed off and he torched the place. And he's like, oh shit, this fire's getting away from me. So he started opening the valve, and there was nobody around to stop him. So he ended up with Noah's Ark.
He broke the handle.
This all makes a lot of sense.
Well, then again, I come back to my standard argument. That's impossible, because if he did that, then he would have known what would happen.
Right.
That's a Jethro Tull song, God stole the handle, and the train, it wouldn't stop going. No, it couldn't slow it down. See, that's metaphor for he broke the valve, and that's why all the water came out. See, there you go.
Yep.
You just got to go
The
look, and
bones-
it's
bones
all
of the
there
deep.
in Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
That
And Orange
locomotive
Jesus
madness,
is repeating
maybe?
his mistakes.
Locomotive Breath, yeah.
Breath. That's the one. Yeah.
Great tune.
Yeah,
Great
but
tune.
that omniscience shit, we know that's bullshit. You read 5 pages of the Bible and you realize that ship has sailed. That God didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Well, Charlie
And-
stole the
and
handle,
also-
but then he changes it to God stole the handle.
And also the fact that there is just one God.
Yeah.
That's also not in the Bible.
Kip
And like
Davis,
and
Kip Davis has been around lately doing stuff talking about there's the one God thing is just not in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a video today that was talking about God's wife, which you mentioned in some of these old
Yeah.
parchments that they found, and all of a sudden we don't hear about his wife anymore. It's like, where did his
And
wife go?
talking
It's
about
kind of
other
like
gods.
Melania. She disappeared
Yeah,
like Melania.
yeah, but
He's saying
that's
it goes
because we
from
got Elon.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It goes from first person to third person and all this stuff and everything. It's real interesting. Kip Davis, a lot of good stuff. If you don't know Kip Davis, you should go find out Kip Davis. Anybody got a link for Kip Davis? Drop it. If not, you can just find him, Kip Davis. Type it in. You'll find
Yeah, that's the thing they should really be afraid of is these scholars that are learning more and more about history and what was happening back then, and how these and the mythology that existed that supported these Christian myths. They should really be pushing back more on them than evolution, but they're spending time on evolution instead.
Well, and unlike Ham or Hawaiian Shirt Guy or any of the rest of them, Kip's sitting there saying what the words is. He's pronouncing it in the language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with it, whereas one of my favorite video clips is when Walter Kaiser, who's a Christian, but he's a Jewish studies Christian or something like that, basically Old Testament or something, told Ken Ham, you don't understand ancient Hebrew, right? So they're reading these things in their English version Bibles without the understanding. And when these folks are saying, well, actually what it says, right? And this word actually means this, it breaks it down. A lot of the stories get broken down. And like this Brainless said, the one God idea is really getting broke down by that. And it's right there in the text. It's in their text, Yeah.
Yeah, don't worship any other gods. Why would
That
he
too.
need to say that if there are no other gods?
Right. Yeah. Well, and then Satan, is obviously godlike, and I don't know.
Thank
No,
you,
but Satan
Sam.
wasn't a god.
There's a link for Kip right there.
Yeah, there's a lesser
That's right.
god. A lesser god.
No, he was
Yeah.
he was a fallen angel.
Yeah,
Well,
well, what the hell's
there's
the difference between an
pantheon
angel
of
and a god?
gods. Yeah, they chose from a pantheon of gods, and
I mean,
there's all kinds
Satan
of
is
different
obvious.
things.
Satan is obviously pretty powerful if he gets into all of us our atheist minds and makes us want to sin, right? So I mean, he's obviously got
Yeah.
some. He's got some moxie.
He's got some math
He's got
skills.
some power.
He's got some math skills. Got some powers. Yeah.
Yeah, it
he's
was
got
always
some powers for an
unclear.
angel.
Yeah, what exactly the powers that Satan had and didn't have, and but whatever it was,
Yeah, like my
he
mushroom-
rebelled. Well,
My
look
mushroom
at it
god
this way, though.
isn't omnipotent.
Well, Satan was in heaven, Lucifer, whatever. The fallen angel was in heaven, right? Was in heaven and rebelled and said, I don't like you or the way things are here. Is that not a profound thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in heaven and you say, you know what? I don't like the way you're running things here, Yahweh, right? You're in heaven. I mean, isn't that a total contradiction, right? I mean, how could you
Yep.
rebel against heaven, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
And then
If you're
Yahweh
in-
said, "It's
Yeah,
it's Yahweh or the highway." So,
Right. It
but
doesn't make any sense.
we're just straw manning Christianity now. We're straw manning.
Yeah.
We're interpreting the Bible literally, and it sounds like a straw man. What does that tell you?
Well, and it wasn't just that. It was, and a third of the angels went with him, right? So it was a third of the population, right? What does that number sound like, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
A third of the population of heaven would say, we don't like it here and we want to leave.
Oh, shit.
And we go right back to that 30% number again. That hovers right around the sun orbits the earth, and man lived with dinosaurs, and where the mark of the beast on their head in the form of a red hat. All right, I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good revisit. Again, sorry folks, we had some strange audio issues. I've never had this before where a video wouldn't play the audio, even though I downloaded it and everything else. We had a true demon intervention this evening. And
well, if it has to do with stereo or mono, maybe just try and make it mono, and maybe that will work.
Yeah, you got to switch channels, or like I went to one channel and I couldn't hear it. That's weird. So something is messed up in YouTube. I don't know.
It's the weirdest
anyway,
thing.
if you download it, and I don't know.
I did. I downloaded it. It plays. It plays fine for me, and I always check them. I render them, and I a lot of these have prayers on them or stuff like that. And I trim that stuff all off, right? Any ads or anything, right? I cut that stuff out. So then I always play it, and I open it up. Media player's my default. It opens it up, and it plays. And usually, if it'll play on media player, it'll play on YouTube or StreamYard, whatever. Never had a problem before, and I've had ones where the volume was low, and I turned up the volume, and I didn't have a problem. The only thing I was thinking is maybe because the volume was so low, and I had to turn it up, that much, that it screwed it up somehow. But I don't understand then why it plays fine on media player. You know what I mean?
No,
it's very weird.
It's because they're merging the two channels, I think. Because when I went to one channel on my headphones, I couldn't hear it anymore.
It's very odd.
Because I always switch my headphones to one channel so it balances. Otherwise, I hear it out of one ear or the other.
Well, the thing is too, Mike, right? I was telling you, okay? I said, well, I'm deciding between this one guy and the other guy, right? Right?
Yeah.
And I chose this one. And if I would have picked whiteboard guy, it probably would have worked. So then I was kicking myself saying, I should have picked whiteboard guy. But it seemed like there was, a lot of dead air time, with him drawing on his whiteboard. Although he had some interesting things to say. I really wanted to look at it. So, but I said, well, it's a little slow with the, drawing on the whiteboard, right? So I went with this one because, well, the one we couldn't show. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to test this theory right now.
And it didn't work. And, and I had to go, and you know what else? It didn't have his name. So I had to spend a lot of time searching to even find the person's name, right? I had to go look and I couldn't find a name. He wasn't big enough or popular enough to have anything to find, right? So then I had to go through the church videos to find the different people's names, to chase them back through the Facebook page. That took me to a video, and I recognized the face that took me. So I put in a search for the person's name, and it came back through YouTube search to the same face. So I think I found his name. I did all that, and the stupid video doesn't work.
Yeah.
most of the weeks there's something right in the about section, you know, and I just copy it off. You know, this is Bob the engineer or whatever, right?
Say,
No,
Dave, I just switched to 2 channels on my headphone, the stereo, and
Yeah.
I could hear them again, and I could hear them out of one ear, and I can hear
I'll
you
go-
out of the other ear.
Well, I'm gonna play with it, and I'm gonna see if I can get it to work. But I'm not gonna spend too much dang time on it because it was already a buzzkill that the stupid thing didn't work, and I'm this close to just hitting delete. So you're not gonna get many opportunities to get this stupid thing to work. If I can get it to work, we'll try it again next week. If not, I've got other stuff. And again, we've got a bunch of almost all the videos we've done, like tonight, I've always got extra material. So, you know, if anybody had a favorite that they want us to revisit more from them, and I know Mike wants to take a look at one of the guys there, and Wayne the toaster guy, we're going to come back to that. I figured we'd give everybody about a month. Okay. So I hope everybody that's been watching, and I'm going to mention this as often as I can, has been manifesting themselves into their toaster and their ketchup bottles. Right? Brainless already tried the radio thing. It didn't work. He tried manifesting the song. It didn't come on the radio. So we've got, there's Brainless. No, wait. There's Brainless.
Yeah.
I'm
going to
It's so hard to get hang of it. No matter how many
and
times you do
mustard.
it, you get it wrong. So Brainless here has done the radio experiment that said, if you think about it, your song will come on the radio. All right. So Brainless has done the experiment for us. It didn't work. So everybody else, feel free to try it yourselves. If you get in touch with your toaster or your ketchup bottle, make a note, okay, what they said or whatever happened. I don't know what's supposed to happen. But it was a lot of fun looking at the Wayne stuff with the toaster. And he had 3-4 videos too, and I think we only looked at the one, right? So there's always extra stuff. So I figured maybe another week or two here, we're going to come back to Wayne with the toasters, and we hopefully will have somebody that has manifested with their toaster into the universal consciousness of the what they think is a God, sort of, is that everything's connected and that's really what God is, or something like that. But why it's a toaster and a ketchup bottle, we have yet to figure out.
Toaster man scares me.
But it was very interesting and it was a lot of fun. And we definitely will be revisiting Wayne and the toaster stuff. That will definitely come back. But if any of the other ones you have favorites of, if any of you folks here had a favorite, whatever, just let me know and we can come back and check those too in between, you know, other videos. I've got other stuff. Made a bad choice picking this video tonight. It happens. So what we got, over 20 weeks we've been doing this show. I haven't had a problem. So I guess one night it's going to happen, right? And so I just said, hey, you know what? We got plenty of stuff. We can go back and do a double. Well, we did a double take on Mr. Peace, didn't we? So this is our second time we've gone back and revisited somebody. Yeah.
Yep.
And if you have come across any videos, we like to keep it from the smaller channels here. Okay. You know, maybe at the most, you know, a couple thousand subs, but most of the stuff we look at here is 1,000 subs. Some of them are 500 subs. A couple of the ones we did were only a couple hundred subscribers, the smaller channels. But if you come across a smaller channel that's talking about atheism, science, evolution, any of these kind of things, you know, let me know at allhailbigfoot@gmail.com, and, you know, check them out. Maybe we'll do them on the show. Appreciate any tips. I know folks have been giving me some tips on some stuff. I got one today. I told Mike we might have to take a look at this guy. So I appreciate the tips. Keep them coming in. And once again, lots of links in the description tonight. Go subscribe to my channel, please. Appreciate everybody. I've picked up some subscribers this evening. Much appreciated. And go down, and everybody else's links are in the description. Brainless is often, I put Slim Cyborgs down there because you'll often find Brainless there. And Mike here at Answers in Atheism, his link is there. And let's see, get this diagonal. Oh, look at this. I'm getting a diagonal. Simos, his link is in the description as well. Go subscribe there and, you know, share the love around. Give everybody some likes and some comments and watch their videos for at least a few minutes. You know what I mean? Give them the view time. Help everybody out. It's what we do, and a lot of us appreciate it a whole lot. And going through everybody's links, you're also going to find a whole bunch of links for wait, hold on, we'll pull it up. We're going to pull it up again. We're gonna do all this stuff because we're all about helping out everybody and everything here at the Captive Desk. As so many other channels have helped me out with stuff, sharing my stuff around. Much appreciated. Joe over the Kentucky Atheist, along with the Tri-State Freethinkers and a lot of other people. Jess is helping them out, doing a lot of stuff as well. She let us know earlier in the chat that I got her in touch with Dan Phelps. Dan Phelps often does a lot of the editorial stuff, and he does a lot of the digging into Ken Ham's finances and all these kind of things. So they were put in touch with Dan Phelps today as well. So hopefully that'll help them out too. He's got a great lineup. Bunch of YouTubers are, of course, nothing's set in stone. This is early, but so far, most of these people are in, as far as we know. July 6th, it's a Sunday, Kentucky protest. If you're anywhere near there, it's really easy to find. It's right on I-75. So if you can get to I-75 in northern Kentucky, you're going to find the arc signs, and, you know, there you go. Otherwise, you know, there's other ways to help. There's, you know, volunteer stuff. And of course, there's always ways to donate to help finance everything. So make sure you follow all the links below for that. And we want to help out Bree over at Hive Psi as well. I already did. You should all do it too. Go get yourself a t-shirt at Hive Psi merch store. Bree's got cryptids on shirts and hats and whatever stuff is over there. I got myself a shirt coming. Was hoping it was going to be here today so I could wear it tonight. I ain't got it. I do got my Bigfoot shirt on. I usually have a Bigfoot shirt on. I got a lot of Bigfoot shirts. And I'm going to have a new Bigfoot shirt. So link below for that. And Joe is also got a merch, and he's got affiliate with a smoke shop. You need smoke supplies. There's a link below to the smoke shop, as well as Joe's discount code. So you can go there and get your stuff, and you can get a discount. And we had as well the Scott shared the Grayson Jason Lyle video. Recommended go check that out. So everybody check that out as well. All the links are in the description. As far as some of the other stuff, it's kind of messed up this evening because we didn't play the video we were going to play. These things happen. I'll adjust the title or something later here. But otherwise, you know, we'll get back on track hopefully next week where the audio will actually work for the video. So we hopefully we didn't tick off the demons this week. I don't know how we ticked off the demons last week. We didn't do a demon video or anything last week.
Shit, Sun Country, I can get a flight for $59 to Cincinnati, but I think that's in a hamster cage in the Chicago hold. So might be a little, but I'd have to leave on the 4th or 5th and come back on the 6th. Yeah, that would suck. But anyway, I might go. Thinking about it.
I'm on the maybe list, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Of course, it's a long way away. Who knows what's going to be going on then? But
So we've been ignoring dog.
it's about a 4-hour or so drive for me. So if I can work it out, we'll see. I'm on the maybe. I'd like to go, especially with all the folks that are going to be there. It'd be really neat to meet everybody. So.
Look on the bright side there, Dave. If you had to sail there, it would take a lot longer.
Indeed.
On the bright side,
it's not that big a deal. It's a day trip. Of course, I probably want to stay over because they're going to have an all-day thing going. But
no way, Noah.
Have you been ignoring dog? It looks like
I haven't been ignoring dog.
He says he hates being ignored on your channel. You've been ignoring him. You've been bad.
Oh,
bad.
Oh, I wasn't ignoring dog. Dogs are no. I was posting dog stuff.
Oh yeah.
Dog's all right. Dog always hails Bigfoot and everything. We're good. And with that, let me think here. I was just talking earlier. Bree was talking about Ohio has so many cryptids, and I said, yeah, I'm wanting to cover more Ohio cryptids. So Grassman Chronicles, I'm going to be wanting to cover more Ohio things because that's where I'm at, and it's local, and it's why we call it the Grassman Chronicles, because in Ohio, Bigfoots are called Grassman. So I have covered the Grassman, and I have covered Bessie, and we've got a bunch of other ones here. Ohio's one of the big ones. We've got a lot of cryptids here, and I don't want to leave them out because they're my locals, right? Gotta support the locals.
They're your homeboys.
Yeah, a lot of cryptids, but obviously not a lot of cameras.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's more cryptids there, Dave. There's more cryptids in Ohio because of genetic entropy. You guys have been around longer than Minnesota.
Yeah. And information being destroyed as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all buried underneath the Smithsonian, and we can't get access to it.
The skeptic gene kind of went away in some states. Yeah.
Yeah, the government took them all to Nevada for some reason.
And of course, Mike at Answers in Atheism. You never know what we're going to be talking about. We come across a lot of things, and Mike says, "Hey, you want to do a stream?" And we're doing a stream just like that.
Yeah.
So,
every now and then I got to blather about philosophy or some goddamn thing. So nobody wants to listen to that shit.
But the kind of guy Mike is, right?
Yeah, but you should subscribe to me because I'm old and I'm going to die soon. And my dream is to get to 1,000.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my sales pitch, man.
Click the bell when you're notified, because Mike, like James Apperson and some of these other folks, you never know when they're going to stream. So make sure you put a bell on there so you get notified. And same thing with my channel, because sometimes I dual stream with Mike, and I also do other things. Recently, just last week, you can go check these out. I had Austin Sims on. Austin Sims is a new creator. You might have seen him debate the Hawaiian shirt guy. We had a talk, get to know Austin stream. That was last week.
He has a dark Christian story in his early life.
He had a rough story that he shared with us, and you want to hear the story? It's some folks have a tough story, and you need to hear him though. And he shared with us, so appreciate him sharing his story. And I also had Zach from the Shaken Fist over. And we were talking about pyramid power a little bit, having some fun. You can go check that video out too. That's what I had done recently here. So I had a lot of stuff going on. And now I'm all caught up, and I was all ready for today, and the video didn't work. Well, the audio didn't work. And I was like, ain't that the way, Everything was all caught up. Nothing, no pressure, nothing on my plate. All we got to do is just kick back and do our thing, right?
You
And
must
the audio
get
didn't
some
work.
willow boughs and spank yourself, Dave. You must
I know,
spank
well,
yourself. with
I should have
willow
lit
boughs.
my sage incense or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I got this got some bad mojo. The planets are out of whack or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're all lined up. Remember, they're all lined up.
Oh,
across
yeah,
the
they're all
sky.
lined up. That's what did it.
That's a problem.
See?
Yeah.
See? All right. Well, that explains it. It took the audio out because the planets are all lined up. Makes
Yeah, all that
perfect sense.
genetic entropy slid to one side of the planets and fucked us up. So
Well, it went sideways.
Yep. Science, man. Science.
Bloody
Okay.
Pisces.
Okay. Yeah. So
I gotta leave.
Thanks everybody.
I gotta leave.
Thanks everybody for joining us as always. And again, thanks for all the new subscribers. Great to have everybody joining us. I'll find something to. We'll make up for it next week somehow. And maybe, like I say, maybe the week after that, or who knows? Maybe if I get in the mood, maybe it'll be Toaster Guy next week. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. Mike, if you got any input, let me know. And
I'll find something. Okay.
Toaster Guy will be making a reappearance though, because we have to revisit Wayne with the toaster stuff. We just have to.
Okay.
And with that,
Okay, guys.
thank you for joining us, everybody, and good night. And we will play
Good
my
night.
outro. If I
Good
can
night, lovely
find my
people.
outro.
Good night.
Thanks for having us on, Dave. Was
Thanks.
interesting, and like Mike, I gotta say, you've got fucking interesting work.
Thanks, Brandless,
Yeah.
and we appreciate your input as always. You had some great insights there to this evening, so much appreciated. And of course,
Yeah,
Simos, always great input. Appreciate you. And
No
Mike,
worries.
always a pleasure. Always appreciate
thank
you
you.
sharing your knowledge with everybody and myself. And look forward to what we can find to look at next week.
If I could just finish with, one of the issues I have with these in general is they don't have much of a sense of humor when it comes to God. And if God has a sense of humor, surely he would have
Right.
invented the nub.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have made so many people so happy.
Good night.
Okay.
Tales of the Lord knocking at the captive death's door. Oh, legends live within these walls, silent echoes in the halls, books and stories on the floor, knocking at the captive death's door. Oh, captive desk, hold our dreams, where reality and no myth seems. In conversations, quiet flow, the mysteries untold will know. Legends live within these walls, silent echoes in the halls, books and stories on the floor, knocking at the captive text.